Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Naruto Carried Shirsue's Legacy? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Naruto was running through a forest, glancing back to confirm he was no longer being pursued. He had wanted to test his stealth skills and had playfully painted the Umbu headquarters a bright pink, a prank that surprisingly went unnoticed until he finished. He chuckled at the irony of ninjas, who were known for sneaking up on others, being caught off guard themselves. However, his thoughts were interrupted by the sound of metal clashing. Curiosity got the better of him, and he foolishly ran toward the noise. In a clearing, he spotted two teens engaged in a sparring match. Judging by their appearance and the symbol on their shirts, they were from the Uchiha clan. Naruto decided to stick around to see who would emerge victorious, knowing that the Uchiha were renowned as prodigies. Itachi and Shisui simultaneously unleashed the fire style, Fireball Jutsu. Naruto jumped back, startled by the intensity of the flames colliding. He marveled at the display, noting that the cooler-looking one had triumphed over the more intimidating one. Shisui dropped the kunai he had held against Itachi's throat and extended his hand, which Itachi took, helping him up. They performed a sign of unity and began walking in the same direction, which Naruto assumed led out of the forest. Realizing he could follow them home, he pondered the gesture they had shared at the end of their spar. He wished he had paid more attention in the academy to understand it better. He decided to ask the Hokage about it the next time they met. Noticing the abandoned kunai and shurikens scattered around, he figured they wouldn't mind if he borrowed a few to practice his accuracy. For the next hour and a half, Naruto threw kunai and shurikens at a tree, fully engrossed in his training until he sensed a chakra signature watching him. He called out to the hidden jounin in the tree, confidently stating that he could sense their presence. Shisui was impressed by Naruto's ability to detect him and appeared in front of the boy in a flicker, causing Naruto to stumble back in surprise. Astounded, Naruto expressed his admiration for Shisui's speed and quickly apologized for using his weapons. Shisui reassured him that the weapons were left behind and anyone could have taken them. He complimented Naruto on his impressive skills and sensing abilities, particularly noting his determination to continue practicing even when his right hand grew tired. Curious about the boy, Shisui asked for his name, to which Naruto proudly introduced himself as Naruto Uzumaki. Shisui recognized him as the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails and noted that he was impressive for someone without guidance. Shisui inquired about Naruto's age, and upon learning he was 6 and had just started the academy, he introduced himself as Shisui Uchiha and expressed his desire to take Naruto on as his student. Naruto was taken aback by the offer, initially suspecting it might be a trap. However, he sensed no negative emotions from Shisui. Shisui explained that he believed Naruto was a hands-on learner who would benefit from guidance, especially given his admirable determination. He also mentioned that his cousin had pointed out that he lacked a student despite being a jounin, and he wanted to showcase Naruto's progress to him in the future. Excited by the prospect of having such a cool mentor, Naruto eagerly agreed to become Shisui's student and asked when they would begin their training. Shisui enjoyed the title Shirsu-sensei, and suggested they leave the forest, asking if Naruto was hungry. Hesitant due to his lack of funds, Naruto nodded. Shisui noticed and offered to treat him to ramen at a stand he had heard was excellent. He decided it would be quicker to use the body flicker technique to get there, assuring Naruto it might feel a bit strange. In an instant, they appeared in front of Ichiraku's. Inside, they ordered their food and chatted about various topics while waiting. After finishing their meal, Shisui informed Naruto that he would be away on missions for a while, but he would start Naruto's training for the Genin exam the next day and assign him some homework to complete in the meantime. Although Naruto wasn't thrilled about the idea of homework, he kept his thoughts to himself as their ramen arrived, and he quickly became a fan of the dish. Once they finished eating, Shisui flickered Naruto back to his apartment after paying. He wished Naruto good night and told him to meet him there the following day. Naruto nodded and thanked him, bowing before heading inside. As Naruto lay in bed, he couldn't believe his incredible luck. Not only had he found someone who seemed to care for him, but he also had a mentor to help him with his training. He wondered how Shisui had known where he lived but soon drifted off to sleep, feeling happy and content. The next morning, Naruto was awakened by a knock at his door. Sleepily, he answered it to find Shisui, who cheerfully greeted him. Shisui informed Naruto that it was only 5 in the morning and that they needed to train early to prepare for the academy, which started at 6. He explained that developing the habit of waking up early would benefit Naruto in the long run. After addressing that, he handed Naruto a black scroll, instructing him to change into the outfit contained within. When Naruto looked at him in confusion, Shisui clarified that it was a storage seal. It allowed for the sealing of a limitless number of items, making carrying them much easier. Nodding, Naruto quickly ran to change, emerging 5 minutes later dressed in a black t-shirt featuring the red Uzumaki spiral on the back, standard shinobi fingerless gloves, black shinobi sandals, and blue shinobi pants. Shisui handed Naruto an apple, which he eagerly devoured while they walked to their destination. When they stopped, Naruto recognized the clearing from the previous day and bounced on the ball of his feet in excitement. He asked Shisui what he would teach him first, wondering if it would be a super powerful S-rank jutsu. His enthusiastic questions were interrupted when Shisui lightly tapped the top of his head, urging him to calm down. Before teaching anything, Shisui wanted to analyze Naruto's abilities through a sparring session. Naruto quickly realized that Shisui was a jounin for a reason. Every time he got close, Shisui would vanish and reappear elsewhere. Despite Naruto's impressive senses, they proved nearly useless against his sensei. By the time he pinpointed Shisui's location, his sensei would already be somewhere else, making it feel as if he were tracking the wind. After a while, Shisui called for a halt. Naruto insisted he could keep going, but Shisui explained he had gathered enough information to get started. He instructed Naruto to back up, sensing his nervousness. Shisui decided to teach Naruto the basics needed to graduate from the academy. After mastering those, he would introduce more advanced techniques. However, their sparring had consumed all their free time, so Shisui planned to demonstrate the first jutsu. He would then give Naruto one attempt before transporting him to the academy. Naruto nodded in understanding. Shisui performed the transformation jutsu, perfectly mimicking Naruto before reverting to his original form. He explained that the trick was to channel chakra throughout the body and visualize the object or person to transform into. More experienced ninjas could even replicate the mannerisms and personality, but that would be for another time. For now, he instructed Naruto to try transforming into him. Naruto attempted the transformation but found his height was off. He nervously ran his hands through his hair, and Shisui asked him to try again, this time using the smallest amount of chakra possible. Activating his Sharingan, Shisui observed Naruto's efforts. After Naruto complied, Shisui deactivated his Sharingan and noted that Naruto had an abundance of chakra twice as much as he did. While this would benefit him in the long run, it would complicate his training at the academy due to the difficulty in controlling such a large amount. Curious, Naruto asked how to improve his control. Shisui demonstrated by walking vertically up a tree trunk and standing upside down on a branch. He explained that the key was to channel chakra into the ball of his feet, the hardest place to do so, and stick them to the surface. Shisui encouraged Naruto to practice this after academy hours and to pay attention in class, not wanting his student to fall behind. He instructed Naruto to keep trying until he could reach the top of the tree and then to practice on water as the next chakra control exercise. Before leaving, Shisui reminded Naruto not to disclose their training relationship to anyone, as it could lead to complications for both of them and for Lord Third. Naruto nodded, still trying to grasp the implications. In the blink of an eye, he found himself in front of the academy, with Shisui nowhere in sight. He barely made it to class on time. Irika instructed him to sit down, and though Naruto usually chose a seat in the back, he remembered Shisui's advice and opted for the front, pulling out a blank scroll to take notes. As the lesson progressed, Naruto found it dull, questioning the relevance of learning about the Senju and Uchiha clans founding the village. He thought it was interesting how the two former enemies became friends, albeit briefly. Mumbling to himself, he walked home, blissfully ignoring the glares from his classmates. Upon arriving home, he noticed a scroll on the table that hadn't been there when he left. Recognizing it as a message from Shisui, he opened it. The note instructed him to wake up early at 5 a.m. to practice the tree walking exercise and to complete the physical training they had discussed. Shisui emphasized the importance of doing both before and after the academy and to continue working on the transformation jutsu. He mentioned he would return in a week and had left food for Naruto. The note also humorously reminded him to pay attention in class, specifically not to get distracted by the indigo-haired girl sitting next to him. Shisui acknowledged Naruto's note-taking and promised to discuss everything further upon his return, wishing him good luck. Blushing at being caught admiring his newfound crush, Naruto pondered how Shisui knew. He headed to his training spot and followed through with the exercises Shisui had set. He quickly learned that using too much chakra would push him off the tree, while too little would cause him to slip. By the end of the day, he had managed to climb halfway up the tree before deciding to call it a day. After a week of diligent practice, Naruto finally succeeded in reaching the top of the tree. He woke up promptly at 6 a.m. and had mastered the transformation jutsu. It took an entire week, but he accomplished everything his sensei had assigned. Excitedly, he thought about how Shisui would be returning soon, and he couldn't wait to show him his progress. His musings were interrupted by the sound of clapping. Turning around, he saw Shisui, smirking and applauding. Naruto exclaimed his joy at Shisui's return and shared his success. Shisui acknowledged Naruto's quick progress, noting that he had exceeded his expectations. It seemed they were ready to move on to the next stage of training. What was next? Shisui performed the hand seals for the clone technique. He created a shadow clone, an identical copy of himself appearing in a flicker. This advanced cloning technique was typically forbidden for anyone below the rank of Jounin, but Shisui had received permission from the Hokage to teach it. He noticed that Naruto possessed far too much chakra to use the ordinary clone technique. With time, practice, and chakra control, Naruto might be able to master other D-rank techniques, but the basic clone technique was not an option for him. To perform the shadow clone jutsu, Naruto needed to visualize his chakra splitting into two halves or more, depending on how many clones he wanted to create. They would start with one for now. The hand seals were Ram Snake Tiger. Naruto struggled initially but eventually succeeded. Shisui then began to explain the intricacies of the technique, including what chakra was and the 5 types of chakra natures. They tested Naruto's affinity and discovered it was wind. As Shisui started to explain the replacement technique, they were interrupted. Shisui turned to see Itachi approaching. Itachi informed Shisui that their father was calling a meeting on short notice. He then introduced himself to Naruto, who greeted him from behind Shisui. Itachi acknowledged Naruto's greeting and noted that if their father was calling a mandatory meeting, Shisui had no choice but to attend. He apologized to Naruto, instructing him to continue practicing the technique and to work on water walking before heading home. They would discuss the next steps in Naruto's training in the morning. As Naruto began to follow Shisui's instructions, the Uchiha duo made their way to the meeting. Itachi expressed concern about Shisui training the 9 tails. Jinchuriki, suggesting that the rest of the clan would be upset. Shisui explained that Naruto needed someone to support him, especially after the traumatic events during the Kyuubi festival the previous year. He regretted not being able to help sooner, noting that the genjutsu he had placed on Naruto was not very strong and could break if Naruto experienced enough trauma again. Itachi nodded in understanding as they entered the meeting place. Over a year had passed since Naruto became Shisui's apprentice, and he had learned a great deal. Shisui had managed to channel Naruto's energetic nature into focused training. Naruto also picked up Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu, showing a natural talent for sealing techniques, likely due to his Uzumaki heritage. He discovered a taijutsu fighting style called the Swirling Storm, which was also a Kenjutsu style, from a scroll in the library. It was one of the few remnants of his clan available there, and he decided to master it. Shisui taught him how to break free from genjutsu, even those induced by the Sharingan. Although Shisui wanted to teach Naruto genjutsu, Naruto lacked the necessary chakra control at that time. He also learned various wind and fire style techniques. The training was challenging for the young ninja, but thanks to his clones, he was able to grasp the concepts much more quickly. Naruto felt happier than ever. Not only was he acknowledged by someone, but he also experienced what it was like to have a parental figure. Shisui had become like a father to him, and Naruto was determined to protect his newfound family with all his strength. Chapter End. Team 7 consisted of Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki. Sakura's excitement was palpable as she squealed about being on the same team as Sasuke. Irika, their instructor, confirmed the team composition, noting that the Hokage had decided they should work together. The stoic Sasuke remained quiet, while Naruto had recently emerged as the strongest student in the academy, surprising everyone with his sudden prowess. Sakura expressed her discontent about Naruto being on their team, questioning Irika about the decision. Irika reminded her that the Hokage was responsible for the team placements. Sasuke smirked at Naruto, warning him not to get in his way. Naruto, however, seemed unfazed, staring off into space. This only fueled Sakura's frustration as she chastised Naruto for ignoring Sasuke. Naruto then pointed out that he had performed better than both of them in their respective evaluations, which left Sakura stunned. Irika intervened, clarifying that Naruto had excelled in ninjutsu while Sakura had outperformed Sasuke in the written exam. As the team awaited their sensei, Sakura complained about the delay, but just then, the door slid open to reveal a man with gravity-defying silver hair and a green flak jacket, his headband worn over his left eye. Naruto recognized him from a page in the bingo book he had once found. The man introduced himself in a rather dismissive manner, calling them a bunch of idiots and instructing them to meet him on the roof before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Sakura and Sasuke hurried to follow, while Naruto casually climbed up the wall to join them. Once on the roof, their sensei, Kakashi, instructed them to introduce themselves. He explained what he wanted them to share, but when he went first, he offered little information beyond his name. Sakura whispered to Naruto, expressing her frustration at Kakashi's lack of detail. Kakashi then pointed at Sakura, prompting her to go next. She stumbled through her introduction, revealing her crush and her dreams, but when asked what she hated, she blurted out Naruto's name, catching everyone off guard. Kakashi turned to Naruto, who seemed unfazed by the comment. Kakashi then called on Naruto, who stood up and introduced himself with a list of likes and dislikes, including a disdain for arrogance and attention seekers. He expressed his dreams of becoming the Umbu commander and restoring his clan, as well as wanting to thank the Umbu in the dog mask for saving his life. Sasuke followed, introducing himself with a glare at his nickname, stating his ambitions to restore the Uchiha clan and eliminate a specific individual. Kakashi acknowledged their unique qualities and informed them that they would begin their first mission the following day. Sakura was surprised at the quick turnaround, while Naruto expressed his confusion about the second test. Kakashi revealed that the mission would serve as a second test to determine their readiness to become genin, with a high chance of failure. He explained that of the 27 graduates, only 9 would actually become genin, while the rest would be sent back to the academy. Kakashi emphasized the seriousness of the upcoming mission, instructing them to meet at Training Ground 7 at 5 a.m. and to avoid breakfast to prevent any mishaps. With that, he vanished, leaving the soon-to-be genin to contemplate their future. Naruto chuckled to himself, realizing the challenge ahead. Sasuke questioned him about his laughter, and Naruto simply pointed out that their sensei was Kakashi Hatake, a name that left Sakura surprised, as she had not recognized the legendary figure. He was one of the 4th Hokage's students, the son of the White Fang, a shinobi who was rumored to have been a candidate for Hokage before Minato Namikaze. He was also one of the strongest jounins in the Leaf and was likely next in line for the Hokage seat if anything happened to the 3rd. As Naruto stood up and walked to the railing, he decided it was time to train. He resolved to get stronger and, in a flash, disappeared in a flicker. When Sasuke arrived at the training ground, Naruto was already there, sitting against a tree with his eyes closed, clearly meditating. Sakura appeared shortly after, tiredly fawning over Sasuke, who was expertly ignoring her. Sakura exclaimed at Kakashi, who was 5 hours late, finally arriving at 10. He offered a flimsy excuse about a black cat crossing his path, which only earned him Sakura's accusation of lying. As Naruto opened his eyes and stood up, Kakashi placed a clock on top of one of the wooden posts. Sakura, confused and tired, questioned the situation, while Naruto rolled his eyes, wondering about his teammates' competence. Kakashi explained that their objective was simple: they needed to obtain one of the bells he was holding. If they failed to get a bell, they would fail the mission. Sakura began to panic, realizing that if they didn't all pass, some would have to return to the academy. Kakashi emphasized that they needed to come at him with the intent to win, using their ninja tools. Sakura protested, pointing out the danger, but Kakashi reminded them of his strength as a jounin. He added that those who failed to get a bell would be tied to stumps and denied lunch, forcing them to watch him eat. While Sakura and Sasuke were visibly shocked, Naruto remained unfazed, teasing them about skipping breakfast. When Sakura yelled that they had been told not to eat, Naruto pointed out that it sounded more like a suggestion. Kakashi confirmed that it was indeed a suggestion, and he was ready to begin. As Kakashi prepared for the challenge, Naruto suddenly appeared behind him with a kunai, but Kakashi quickly countered, revealing a clone. Naruto, realizing the game had not officially started, decided to engage Kakashi in a taijutsu match, taking advantage of the distraction to prove his skills. The fight escalated, and as Naruto and Kakashi exchanged blows, Sasuke joined in, creating a diversion. Naruto seized the opportunity to escape into the woods, knowing that Sasuke would not agree to team up with him. He hoped to find Sakura instead. However, a shriek in the distance drew his attention back to Sasuke, who was in trouble. Rushing back, Naruto witnessed Sasuke being trapped by Kakashi's technique. After freeing Sasuke, they quickly devised a plan to distract Kakashi while Sakura attempted to grab the bells. Just as Sakura was about to succeed, Kakashi revealed a substitution, and the alarm signaled that time was up. In a surprising twist, Naruto revealed that he had managed to secure both bells. When Kakashi asked whom he would give the extra bell to, Naruto tossed one to each of his teammates, declaring that he refused to leave anyone behind. Despite Sakura's doubts about her contribution, Naruto's determination shone through, showcasing his desire to be a true ninja and to train under Kakashi. Naruto was determined to prove himself. Kakashi acknowledged his enthusiasm with a cheer, which surprised Naruto. He questioned the purpose of the exam, and Kakashi confirmed that it was about teamwork. Naruto explained his reasoning, noting that only 9 out of the 27 graduates could pass, and that the use of 2 bells instead of 1 indicated a challenge. He also pointed out that a perfect squad typically consisted of 4 members, but he considered that a minor detail. Kakashi recognized their teamwork and declared that they were officially a team. He instructed them to meet him the next morning for their first mission. Team 7 was dismissed. Later, in a covert operation, Kakashi checked in with his team. Naruto and Sakura reported their positions, and Kakashi was impressed with Naruto's professionalism. On his command, they moved out. Sasuke and Sakura leaped from their hiding spots to find Tora, the demon cat of the leaf, comfortably nestled in Naruto's arms. Naruto reported the successful capture, and Sasuke noted the cat's identity, feeling a twinge of annoyance at Naruto's apparent skill. After regrouping, the team made their way to the Hokage Tower. Kakashi knocked lazily on the door and announced their return. Naruto handed the sleeping cat to a woman, who squeezed it affectionately. The Hokage began to outline their next mission, listing various tasks like babysitting and gardening. Naruto interjected, expressing his desire for a C-rank mission. Irika, surprised, reminded him that they were rookies and needed to start with simpler tasks. The Hokage explained the importance of these missions, detailing how requests were ranked by difficulty. Naruto countered, arguing that their team was ready for a challenge, emphasizing that they should be able to handle a simple escort mission. The Hokage considered Naruto's suggestion about training academy students with D-rank missions to foster teamwork. He then asked Kakashi if he believed Team 7 was ready for a C-rank mission. Kakashi affirmed their readiness, particularly praising Naruto and Sasuke. The Hokage agreed and introduced Tazuna, a drunk old man who would be their charge. Tazuna expressed his disappointment at receiving such young ninjas, particularly criticizing Naruto's appearance. Naruto's demeanor shifted, and he asserted their capability to protect Tazuna. His eyes momentarily glowed with a fierce intensity, which made Tazuna reconsider. Naruto offered the option of a refund or traveling alone, which further unsettled Tazuna. Kakashi reiterated that they would reconvene at the North Gate, urging Tazuna to prepare for their journey. As Team 7 was dismissed, the Hokage called Naruto back for a private conversation. He warned Naruto about scaring clients and reminded him to support his team. Naruto acknowledged the advice but pointed out that he had only given Tazuna a gentle push. After receiving the Hokage's approval for his first C-rank mission, Naruto vanished in a flash, leaving the aged leader to sigh in contemplation. "What do you think I should do, Jiraiya?" The last loyal Sannin emerged from the shadows. "So you can sense me while I'm using my stealth technique?" "Now's not the time." "Sorry. What Itachi did to the boy seems to have a lasting impact on him." Yes. Inoichi mentioned that it was highly probable. The Hokage removed his hat and looked at his student. "Why don't I take him as my student?" Jiraiya suggested with a smile. "What exactly does that solve?" "Naruto doesn't trust anyone but Kakashi anymore. I doubt he would respond to anyone else's orders. Besides, it would be unfair to Kakashi. He really wants to teach Minato's son." "What did that Uchiha mean to the boy?" Jiraiya inquired. Shisui became a father figure to him. When he died, Naruto lost his will to carry on. And with what Itachi did, we should be grateful that Kakashi is keeping an eye on him. "Sensei, you haven't told me what happened." "Sorry. I will honor Naruto's request to keep it hidden from everyone." When Sakura arrived at the North Gate, she found Sasuke alone with Tazuna. Little did she know that Naruto was resting on a branch in a nearby tree. "Sasuke-kun, you're so responsible for getting here before everyone else. Where are Naruto and Kakashi?" Sasuke ignored her, acting as if she didn't exist. 3 hours passed with the sounds of Naruto's light snores, Tazuna's incoherent grumbling, Sasuke's silence, and Sakura's endless chatter, which she seemed to interpret as Sasuke engaging in dialogue, before Kakashi finally arrived. Naruto woke to the sound of a poof, hopping down from his cozy branch to see Sakura accusing Kakashi of being late. "Oh, did I say 1 hour? I meant 3 hours, Kakashi remarked, receiving 3 glares in return. You don't seem all that bothered by my tardiness, Naruto." True to Kakashi's observation, Naruto appeared unfazed. "I figured you had important matters to attend to. The responsibilities of a jounin aren't to be taken lightly. You could have been brainstorming strategies to keep us alive if we were ambushed by rogue ninjas, discussing important information with the Hokage, saying goodbye to a possible Mrs. Hatake, or paying respects to those lost during the war and the Kyuubi attack. Shisui taught you well." Naruto and Sasuke's eyes widened as Kakashi ruffled Naruto's red hair. "Well, since you're all here, let's get going." As Sasuke looked at Naruto, he saw a reflection of his own eyes in Naruto's blue pupils. He could almost sense Naruto lowering his temporary guard. That's right, Shisui took him on as a student. Naruto would always follow him around. Father mentioned to Mother that he won't take the news gently. Was he talking about Naruto? He stopped smiling a little before Itachi killed off the clan. The timing matches up with when he supposedly killed Shisui. Wait, does Naruto know that Itachi killed him? Does he even know Itachi? I should talk to him privately during the mission. Sasuke shook off his thoughts and resumed walking with the others. After a while, Sakura initiated a conversation with the old man. "Tazuna-san? You're from the village hidden by the waves, right?" "Yes, what of it?" Tazuna replied. "Kakashi-sensei, don't the waves have ninjas that could escort Tazuna?" "Not exactly. The village is protected by the waves, so they don't have a need for ninjas. They're not like the 5 main hidden villages: Leaf, Cloud, Mist, Stone, and Sand. Each of those villages has a ninja force and a leader known as Kage. The Hokage for our Leaf village, Reikage for the Cloud, Mizukage for the Mist, Tsuchikage for the Stone, and Kazekage for the Sand village. Each one who gains the title for their village is responsible for everything that occurs there and for maintaining peace among the other villages." "That old man is that important?" "No way, I don't believe it." Sakura's thoughts were sensed by Naruto. Sakura, you should not underestimate Hokage-sama. That man was a force to be reckoned with in his prime. He was called the Professor and is still known as such. He was even rumored to be the second coming of the god of shinobi. He's not someone I would want to cross. Kakashi, aware of Naruto's disdain for Sakura's uninformed questions, conveyed this to her. Right, sorry. Sakura blushed in embarrassment. The group continued walking until they encountered a puddle. Naruto passed it, then suddenly turned around and threw a kunai at it. What the? Sakura gasped in surprise as the puddle exploded, revealing two bodies. Oh no, wrong kunai. I didn't mean to blow them up, I just wanted to electrocute them with an electricity tag. Sorry, Seth. I guess you can't interrogate them to find out who their target was. Everyone stared at Naruto in shock. Guess not. It'll get dark soon, let's set up camp. Okay, let's see. Sasuke, you'll gather firewood, Sakura will prepare the food, and Naruto, you can help me with the beds. Everyone began their respective tasks. Was there a specific reason you chose me to help you with the beds, Sensei? You could have easily ordered me to do it alone while you questioned Tazuna about the mission's actual ranking. You picked up on that too, huh? Shisui told me to always expect the mission to be harder than it should be, that the client won't always be forthcoming with information. Was that when you took your first life? How did you know? You were more concerned that I couldn't interrogate them than disgusted that you killed them. How are you feeling? If I said I became emotionless after, what would you say? I would present evidence that supports my claim that you're full of it. Well, I don't have a response to that. Really? Shisui didn't teach you sass. He did, but he died before I could master it, among other things. Looks like we're all done. Can I take first watch? I don't want to hear Sakura accusing me of murder. Naruto looked down at his feet. Go ahead, I need to have a personal talk with our client. Naruto vanished in a flicker. Before long, a campfire was lit, and dinner was ready. Sensei? Yes, Sakura? Is Naruto okay? What do you mean? He killed those two and didn't seem to care about their deaths, just that you couldn't interrogate them. He just wants to ensure that the mission isn't jeopardized. Naruto wants to prove himself. What was it that the Hokage said about him having field experience? Sasuke asked. You don't know? Shisui was not known for following the rules. He had brought Naruto along to impress Itachi. Sakura, feeling uncertain, asked what they were discussing. Kakashi, maintaining his usual poker face, inquired about what Sakura knew about Naruto. She replied that he was an orphan who had once aspired to be Hokage, but Kakashi looked disappointed by her answer. He explained that Naruto's parents had died during the Kyuubi attack, leaving him alone from the start. Starved for attention, Naruto had resorted to playing pranks on people, but he stopped once he achieved his biggest prank. Sasuke speculated that Naruto had met Shisui, his cousin. Kakashi confirmed this, recounting how Naruto had painted the Umbu headquarters pink and then stumbled upon a spar between two shinobi. After Shisui defeated his friend and left, Naruto seized the opportunity to train. Impressed by Naruto's determination, Shisui took him on as an apprentice. They grew close during their training, and one day, Shisui decided to bring Naruto along on a mission. However, the client had misrepresented the mission's ranking, and circumstances forced Naruto to take a life to survive. Shisui was there to comfort him afterward, solidifying Naruto's trust in him. Sakura and Sasuke were curious about what had happened to make Naruto so cold. Sasuke revealed that his brother had killed Shisui. The revelation shocked them. Sasuke continued, explaining that Itachi had visited Naruto immediately after Shisui's death, knowing that Naruto would suspect foul play if he learned the truth. The conversation had shattered Naruto, leading him to attempt to take his own life. Both Sakura and Sasuke gasped in disbelief. Sasuke shared that he had been checking on Naruto that night and that Lady Tsunade had told him that if he hadn't been there, Naruto might have died. He then forbade them from discussing anything they had just talked about with Naruto. The Hokage suspected that Naruto might still be at risk for suicide, so they were not to mention Shisui or his parents. They both agreed to the request. Kakashi called out for Naruto to come down and eat, mentioning that Sakura and Sasuke would switch places with him. When they turned to the tree branch where Naruto had been sitting for the last 2 hours, they found him gone. He was now in the previously empty seat, holding the last portion of food. Sasuke and Sakura left to take Naruto's place in the tree. Naruto asked why both of them had to switch. Kakashi explained that it was to allow everyone to eat in peace without interruption. Naruto inquired about Tazuna, to which Kakashi replied that he had gone to bed and was likely asleep. He suggested that Naruto get some rest, promising to switch with Sasuke and Sakura in a few hours and then rotate back to him afterward. Understanding that it was not a request, Naruto nodded and settled into his sleeping bag. As he closed his eyes, he allowed sleep to take over after 2 long days without rest. In his last thoughts before drifting off, Naruto wished for more time with his sensei and hoped that he and his parents would look out for one another. Naruto awoke to the sound of screaming, jumping up with his sword at the ready, expecting enemy shinobi. To his surprise, he saw Sakura running around, panicking with a raccoon clinging to her head. Realizing that it wasn't funny to her, Naruto couldn't help but laugh. He clutched his stomach, laughing uncontrollably, before falling onto his back, still chuckling. After a few minutes, he stood up, still amused, and approached Sakura's flailing form to detach the wild rodent from her head. He patted her gently, still chuckling, and expressed his gratitude for the much-needed laugh. With everyone awake, Kakashi suggested they gather their things, aiming to enter the waves by nightfall. He asked Naruto to check the perimeter, and Naruto nodded before disappearing in a flicker. When Naruto returned, the rest of the team was packed and ready. Kakashi acknowledged his timely return and confirmed they were all set to go. After a couple of hours of silent walking, the group arrived at a dock. Tazuna asked a nearby man if he could take them across the water. The man warned them to be quiet during the crossing, and when Kakashi inquired about the duration of the ride, the boatman replied it would take about 4 to 5 hours. Naruto expressed his discomfort with sitting still for that long, suggesting he would rather walk alongside the boat. He mentioned a past experience of walking for 2 days on a river, proving his stamina. Kakashi, however, pointed out that such advanced chakra control exercises were not taught in the academy, especially to someone who often skipped classes. Naruto reflected on the Hokage's reluctance to assign them a C-rank mission, noting that genin were expected to be weak. He felt it was up to Kakashi to ensure they were strong enough to survive in the ninja world. The boatman agreed that as long as Naruto could maintain his balance, he didn't need a seat. As they began to row across the river, Kakashi interrogated Tazuna and learned that a businessman named Gato had hired rogue ninjas to assassinate him to prevent the completion of his bridge. Kakashi expressed his concern, stating they were no longer obligated to escort Tazuna further, as his team wasn't ready for such a dangerous mission. Sakura pointed out that Naruto had already dealt with enemies, questioning the problem. Kakashi explained that if the demon brothers were the only threats, he would allow the mission to continue. However, if it turned out to be an A-rank mission, they would likely face Jounin-level enemies. Sasuke challenged Naruto, asking if he wanted to prove himself. Naruto admitted he did, but he also recognized the danger of facing a Jounin who wouldn't hesitate to kill. Despite this, he believed they should stay to complete the mission, reasoning that helping Tazuna could lead to future rewards and that his parents would want him to assist those in need. Sakura was taken aback by Naruto's determination, and after some discussion, the group decided to continue with the mission. Kakashi reminded them to stay vigilant, as a Jounin could be deadly. Once they crossed the river and thanked the boatman, they resumed their journey. Suddenly, Naruto threw a kunai at a bush, prompting Sakura to question his actions. Ignoring her, he checked the bushes and discovered he had struck a white bunny. Sakura exclaimed in horror at the sight, but Sasuke shushed her. Naruto, confused, noted that the bunny should have been brown at this time of year. Just then, Kakashi sensed something, and Naruto felt a familiar chakra signature returning. They all ducked just in time as a giant flying sword crashed into a tree nearby. When they got up, they saw a man wrapped in bandages and wearing cow-patterned clothing. Naruto couldn't resist mocking the figure, joking about a talking ninja cow. His teammates, even Sasuke, struggled to contain their laughter. The man threatened Naruto, vowing to kill him last after taking down his team slowly. Naruto continued to jest, commenting on the absurdity of the situation. Kakashi, however, reminded them that the man was Zabuza Momochi, the infamous demon of the mist, and urged Naruto to stop the jokes. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Naruto acknowledged that it was no longer funny. Mumu-chan, you are not very good as a cow, Naruto thought. Zabuza, furious, shouted back that he was not a cow. Naruto nodded, convinced that his words made perfect sense. Zabuza pulled his sword from the tree and aimed it at Naruto, but Kakashi intervened before Zabuza could attack. He introduced himself as Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist and one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and asked Kakashi if he could handle this one while the rest guarded Tazuna. Naruto's joking demeanor vanished, replaced by intense seriousness. Kakashi instructed the team to use their teamwork and ordered them into a formation. Zabuza acknowledged Kakashi, expressing honor at meeting him on the battlefield. Kakashi then revealed his Sharingan, preparing for the fight ahead. Sakura, confused, asked if Kakashi was famous. Naruto suppressed his frustration and explained that a jounin usually has a reputation, and Kakashi was one of the most infamous shinobi, rumored to be next in line for Hokage. As Naruto spoke, he sensed Zabuza breaking their formation and quickly reacted, only to stab a water clone. The battle between Zabuza and Kakashi escalated, a tense game of cat and mouse, until Zabuza trapped Kakashi in a water prison. Sasuke, emotionless, asked what would happen next. Naruto, trying to stay positive, pointed out that the worst outcome would be death. Sakura, frightened, questioned his outlook, while Sasuke reminded them of Zabuza's threat to kill them slowly. Naruto proposed a plan, instructing Sakura to guard Tazuna while he and Sasuke freed Kakashi. Kakashi, however, insisted they escape, revealing that Zabuza was using all his chakra to maintain the prison. Naruto firmly declared that abandoning Kakashi was not an option, as he considered him a comrade. With determination, he expressed that he would rather sacrifice himself than leave a teammate behind. Sasuke agreed to Naruto's plan, and they executed a series of maneuvers. Sasuke threw a demon wind shuriken at Zabuza, who caught it but was forced to dodge the second shuriken hidden in its shadow. Zabuza relaxed momentarily, only to be surprised by Naruto, who transformed from the shuriken and struck him, causing Zabuza to release Kakashi from the water prison. Kakashi, now free, took over the fight, quickly gaining the upper hand against Zabuza. Naruto felt a surge of excitement as he watched Kakashi defeat Zabuza effortlessly. However, just as victory seemed certain, Senbon struck Kakashi, seemingly incapacitating him. A masked shinobi appeared, thanking them for distracting Zabuza and claiming to be a tracker ninja who had been searching for him. With that, both the shinobi and Zabuza vanished, leaving Team 7 in stunned silence. Kakashi collapsed from exhaustion, prompting Sakura to scream in concern. Sasuke reassured her that he was merely suffering from chakra exhaustion due to the Sharingan's toll. Naruto turned to Tazuna, asking how far his house was. Tazuna replied that it was not far, and they quickly moved to help Kakashi. When Kakashi awoke, he found himself in an unfamiliar bed, with Sasuke and Sakura nearby. He learned that he had been unconscious for about a day and that they were in Tazuna's house. Kakashi regretted overusing the Sharingan and wished he had defeated Zabuza sooner. Sasuke expressed doubt about Zabuza's death, suggesting that the tracker ninja was an imposter who had taken Zabuza's body. Realizing Zabuza was still alive, Kakashi knew they needed to prepare for a rematch. However, Naruto pointed out that Kakashi was in no condition to fight, especially if Zabuza had an accomplice. Kakashi resolved to train them to be ready for the next encounter. Despite his condition, Kakashi gathered Team 7 outside to begin their training. He explained that they would strengthen their skills by climbing trees, a chakra control exercise that came before water walking. Sakura, unimpressed, noted the simplicity of the task. Sasuke recognized it as a similar exercise to what Naruto had done before. Kakashi acknowledged Naruto's previous success with water walking and dismissed him to continue his own training, while the others began their climb. Sakura asked uncertainly how climbing trees could help with chakra control. Kakashi explained that they wouldn't be using their hands. Instead, they would channel chakra into the soles of their feet to stick to the tree. This method would enhance their chakra control, allowing them to utilize their chakra more effectively. He then threw them both a kunai knife, instructing them to mark their progress. Each time they pass the highest line, they should make the new line their next goal. Sasuke and Sakura raced to a tree and began to run up it. However, Sasuke lost his grip and fell to the ground, leaving a scratch on his arm. He thought aloud that if too much chakra was channeled, one would be forced off, while too little would prevent sticking. Meanwhile, Sakura cheered, having managed to stick to the tree perfectly. Kakashi teased that the Uchiha clan might not be as impressive as they thought since Sakura was performing so well. Sakura complained that Kakashi's teasing would only make Sasuke mad at her. With a sigh, Kakashi decided to find Naruto to assist his most promising student. When Kakashi located Naruto, he observed him attempting to change the Chidori's chakra nature from lightning to wind. Naruto acknowledged Kakashi's presence and asked if he needed something. Kakashi inquired about Naruto's current project, to which Naruto explained he was trying to create a jutsu that elevated nature and form to an ultimate level. He had managed to channel wind chakra through his entire arm but was seeking tips on how to proceed. Kakashi recognized that Naruto was creating an original jutsu and offered to teach him a technique that would take chakra transformation to its highest level. Naruto's eyes widened as Kakashi mentioned the Rasengan, a jutsu created by the fourth Hokage, which aimed to incorporate chakra nature but was never completed before his death. Naruto was surprised to learn that his father had created it. Kakashi avoided confirming any details about Shirsue's actions, sensing that Naruto was withholding information. When Naruto mentioned the fox and whirlpool, Kakashi decided to move on. He then explained that the Rasengan was a jutsu that transformed chakra into a spinning ball, rotating in all directions at high speeds. Naruto found the concept simple enough and asked about hand seals. Kakashi clarified that there were no hand seals involved, meaning the Sharingan couldn't replicate it, as it was merely a complex chakra emission. Kakashi demonstrated by forming a Rasengan in his hand, showing how chakra could be emitted and spun rapidly. Kakashi then unsealed a bag of water balloons from a scroll, explaining that learning the jutsu involved 3 steps. The first step was rotation, where Naruto would take a water balloon and use his chakra to rotate the water inside until the balloon burst. Kakashi encouraged him to give it a try and mentioned he would check in later, needing to see how the other 2 were progressing. As Kakashi walked away, he heard Naruto mumble his thanks. There's a popular theory that Jiraiya knew about Itachi being a spy and that he was his informant for the Akatsuki. That's the explanation for how he knows about him. Don't worry about Naruto, he'll be fine. Probably. When Kakashi returned to Naruto after checking in with Sasuke and Sakura, giving the latter some tips while the former refused the offer, he found Naruto training with a group of shadow clones to burst water balloons. Kakashi was impressed with Naruto's clever idea to take advantage of his enormous chakra reserves. As the sun began to set, Naruto's clones successfully made the balloons burst. Kakashi praised him, saying they could start the next step in the morning. Nodding, Naruto followed Kakashi to Tazuna's house. Before entering, he noticed Sasuke leaning against a tree, beckoning him to follow. Naruto assured Kakashi he would catch up and went after Sasuke. Once he caught up, Naruto asked Sasuke what he wanted. Sasuke wanted to discuss Shisui, and Naruto's indifferent expression shifted to a frown upon hearing his deceased master's name. He leaned against a tree, mirroring Sasuke's posture, and questioned what there was to talk about since Shisui had trained him for over a year before his tragic end. Sasuke asked if Naruto knew why Shisui had taken his own life. Naruto flinched at the question and replied that he did not know. He straightened his posture, ready to walk away, but Sasuke remained silent, remembering Kakashi's orders, and followed Naruto back to the house. Naruto stirred from his restless sleep when he heard a crash. He rushed downstairs and confronted the intruders in the house, quickly neutralizing them. He thought he should have waited to determine if they were truly enemies but dismissed the thought. He made his way to the bridge, where he found Sasuke trapped in an ice dome. As they attempted to escape, they were bombarded by Senbon, and Naruto found himself stuck in the dome as well. Sasuke sarcastically questioned what their hero would do now. In a moment of mischief, Naruto playfully smacked him. Despite their various attempts to break free, even their combined elemental jutsu had little effect as the ice reformed. Both genin were exhausted, with Sasuke significantly more so as Haku continued to attack with Senbon. Naruto noticed Sasuke was too tired to dodge the incoming attack and braced himself. When Sasuke opened his eyes, expecting impact, he was surprised to see Naruto in front of him, groaning in pain. As Naruto began to lose consciousness, he felt Sasuke catch him before everything faded to black. Naruto opened his eyes to a blinding white space that felt eerie. He turned around at the sensation of a hand on his shoulder and gasped upon seeing Shisui smiling at him. Shisui greeted his student, who jumped back in surprise, overwhelmed with emotion. Shisui explained that he wasn't truly there. It was a genjutsu he had set up to activate a message if Naruto were ever near death again. He expressed pride in Naruto, assuring him that he was a good kid and that he believed in him. As tears fell from Naruto's eyes, he hugged his deceased master, knowing that, regardless of the illusion, it was still him. Shisui informed Naruto that this genjutsu would activate whenever he was in life-threatening danger, allowing him to control the nine-tailed fox's power for a short time. As Shisui's presence faded, Naruto felt a surge of powerful chakra envelop him, his eyes turning red with a black vertical slit and 3 tomo-shaped pupils. Sasuke stepped back as Naruto's body emitted a powerful red chakra that compelled him to rise. Naruto snapped his eyes open, snarling at Haku, and launched an attack. With newfound speed, Naruto overwhelmed Haku, who was left terrified as Naruto's feral grin widened. In a decisive moment, Naruto's chakra-covered fist struck Haku, ending the confrontation. As Haku's body fell, Naruto lost the Nine Tails chakra cloak. Meanwhile, Kakashi dealt with Zabuza, swiftly ending the battle as well. Afterward, Naruto lay down on his designated bed, sighing. Following Zabuza's defeat, Gato appeared but was quickly handled along with his minions. Team 7 spent the rest of the day cleaning up the aftermath and buried Zabuza and Haku. Naruto contemplated the genjutsu Shisui had placed on him, allowing him to harness the beast's power. He wondered when the Jounin had set it up, reflecting on their last training session together. Naruto sat in an open clearing, a place where 2 Uchiha cousins once sparred, and the winner took a young outcast boy under his wing. Though it had been a training ground for the cousins, it had since become Naruto's personal training spot. He often visited even if just to think. He pondered how Shisui truly viewed him. Shaking his head to clear his thoughts, Naruto made his way out of the forest, realizing he was going to be late for his team meeting. When Naruto arrived at Training Ground 7, he found Sasuke and Sakura waiting for their absent sensei. Using the body flicker technique, he appeared on a tree branch and settled into wait for Kakashi. After 20 minutes, Naruto closed his eyes, allowing drowsiness to take over as he took a short nap. He awoke to the sound of a poof. Opening his eyes, he saw Kakashi crouching on top of the fence, giving a half-hearted wave and a closed-eye smile. He explained that he was late because he had been helping an old lady carry groceries home. Amused by Kakashi's antics, Naruto rolled his eyes and hopped down. Sakura accused Kakashi of lying, pointing an accusing finger at him. Kakashi jumped down from the fence, raising his hands in a surrender motion, admitting he might not have been doing that today but had a good reason for being late. He then pulled out 3 pieces of paper, announcing that he had nominated the 3 of them for the Chunin selection exams. Sakura's excitement was palpable as she realized this was the perfect opportunity to prove herself to Sasuke. Kakashi clarified that while he had nominated them, the decision to participate was entirely up to them. Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly but decided to ponder Kakashi's riddle later. He expressed gratitude for Kakashi's confidence in them, hoping to make him proud. Sakura, feeling nervous, asked what they should do if they decided to take the exams. Kakashi instructed them to go to the academy at 3 o'clock on Monday, room 301, if they chose to participate. Curious about their training for the day, Naruto inquired if there would be any. Kakashi smiled and revealed that he had a special treat for them. He presented them with chakra paper, explaining that it would test their elemental affinities. After confirming they understood the 5 basic chakra natures, he handed each of them a slip. Sasuke's paper crinkled, indicating his affinity for lightning, while Sakura's crumbled into dust, showing her connection to Earth. Kakashi assured her that he could help her master it. When he turned to Naruto, who was lost in thought, Naruto ran his chakra through the slip, which tore in half. He realized his chakra nature remained wind. After a few hours of training, the three genin were dismissed and began their walk home in silence. Sakura, as usual, attempted to engage Sasuke with a question, but he immediately rejected her. Disappointed, she bowed her head. Naruto, ignoring his teammates, continued toward his favorite restaurant. Suddenly, he felt a weight collide with his legs and looked down to see Kanomaru Sarutobi sitting on the ground in front of him. Naruto reminded the young boy that shinobi should watch where they were going. Kanomaru quickly jumped to his feet, smiling and claiming he was just testing Naruto. Sasuke questioned the term "big brother," and Naruto introduced Kanomaru as a kid who liked to follow him around. Kanomaru then asked if Sakura was Naruto's girlfriend, prompting a surprised reaction from Naruto, who quickly denied it. He explained that Sakura's heart belonged to someone else and that she wasn't his type. Kanomaru nodded, suggesting that Naruto deserved someone pretty. Sakura, infuriated by Kanomaru's comment, shouted in outrage and brought her fist down on his head. Naruto sighed as he watched Sakura angrily chase a now terrified Kanomaru. Sasuke turned to him, wondering if Sakura knew that Kanomaru was the Hokage's grandson. Naruto speculated that if she did, she would take his insults as compliments rather than trying to chase him down. He decided he should intervene, as the Hokage had entrusted the boy to his care, and disappeared in a flicker. While running away from Sakura, Kanomaru accidentally collided with someone. The teen yelled in frustration, and Sakura helped Kanomaru to his feet, explaining it was an accident. Naruto appeared and reasoned with the teen, but the boy remained angry, expressing his dislike for brats. Kankuro felt a surge of frustration as he faced his sister, Temari, who challenged him with a fierce look while resting her hand on her fan. He sighed, knowing that neither of his siblings were opponents he wanted to confront. His younger brother, Gaara, was a formidable Jinchuriki capable of great destruction, and his older sister, Temari, was a cunning and skilled kunoichi known for her ruthless tactics in battle. Just as Kankuro was about to set Kanomaru down, a rock struck his hand, causing him to drop the academy student. Everyone turned their gaze to the tree where Sasuke sat on a branch, casually tossing and catching another rock. Naruto suddenly hurled a shuriken at Sasuke, embedding it into a wall of sand behind him. Sasuke turned to see a red-haired teen hanging upside down on the branch above him. Kankuro stammered in fear upon recognizing Gaara, who glared at him and warned him to stay out of trouble. Gaara's voice was cold as he threatened, urging Kankuro to silence himself. In a swift motion, Gaara vanished in a swirl of sand, reappearing in front of Naruto. He greeted Naruto with an indifferent tone, while Naruto responded with a lack of emotion. Kankuro and Temari held their breaths as Gaara opened his arms, sand swirling around him. He finished his greeting with a grin, calling Naruto his old friend. Temari questioned the term friend with unease, while Naruto smiled at Gaara, expressing his excitement. The two Jinchuriki embraced, surrounded by Gaara's sand. Kankuro was taken aback, and Sasuke hopped down from the tree, equally confused. Kanomaru asked Naruto if he truly knew Gaara, to which Naruto proudly declared Gaara as his best friend, leaving everyone in shock. Sakura and Sasuke were incredulous, questioning how Naruto knew Gaara. Naruto explained that they met during his first mission at the age of 6, which surprised Sasuke, who recalled the mission that had significant implications for Naruto's journey. As the conversation shifted, Gaara revealed his passport for the Chunin exams, followed by his siblings. Naruto smirked, looking forward to their upcoming encounter. The next afternoon, Naruto arrived at the academy with Sasuke and Sakura, reflecting on how he never expected to return until he became a jounin. They entered the academy and approached a group of genin huddled near a classroom door, which was blocked by two more experienced genin. One of them warned the group about the dangers of the exams, insisting they could get themselves hurt. Naruto muttered about their inability to see through an obvious genjutsu and made his way to the third floor, waiting for his teammates. When they finally reunited after exposing the genjutsu, he inquired about their delay. Sasuke smirked, claiming he was proving his superiority, prompting Naruto to roll his eyes as they headed toward the classroom. Suddenly, a teen clad in green spandex with a bowl cut approached them, introducing himself as Rock Lee and challenging Sasuke to a fight. Sasuke, unimpressed, mocked Lee's challenge, while Naruto added his own jibe about Lee's appearance. Lee then turned his attention to Sakura, asking her to be his girlfriend and vowing to protect her, only to be met with her rejection. Lee, undeterred, taunted Sasuke, who accepted the challenge, ready to demonstrate his strength. As the fight commenced, it became evident that Lee was a taijutsu specialist, moving with incredible speed that even Sasuke struggled to track. Lee swiftly trapped Sasuke, spinning him toward the ground. Before they could hit the ground, Naruto intervened, separating them and allowing Sasuke to fall safely into Sakura's arms. Grabbing Lee by the throat, Naruto confronted him about the danger of his actions, expressing his frustration over the reckless use of a forbidden technique. He warned Lee that such behavior could lead to serious consequences. Just then, Naruto released Lee and casually walked away, telling his teammates they needed to hurry to avoid being late. The team soon encountered Kakashi, who reminded them that the Chunin exams would focus on teamwork. Upon entering the classroom, they were greeted by familiar faces from their previous Genin exams. Shikamaru Nara approached them, commenting on their presence, while his teammate Choji Akimichi joined him. Ino Yamanaka clung to Sasuke until he unceremoniously tossed her off. The group noticed Team 8 approaching, and Naruto attempted to tidy his appearance as Hinata Hyuga, his secret girlfriend, approached with her team. After some time spent catching up, a gray-haired teen named Kabuto Yakushi approached, suggesting that he could offer valuable information about the exams. Naruto skeptically questioned Kabuto's credibility, given his history of failing the Chunin exams. Kabuto produced a deck of blank cards, claiming they contained important information, but Naruto dismissed them, expressing his disbelief in their usefulness. Kabuto insisted that the cards would reveal their secrets once he channeled his chakra into them. There were individuals that raised concerns among the group. Kabuto began discussing three notable figures: Gaara of the Desert, Rock Lee, and Naruto Uzumaki. He noted that Gaara, the youngest son of the Kazekage, had an impressive record with 30 C rank and 10 B rank missions, without a single D rank to his name, which was quite remarkable. Next, Kabuto shifted his focus to Rock Lee, describing him as a relatively unremarkable shinobi who lacked the ability to mold chakra. His skills were limited to taijutsu, with a record of 30 D rank and 10 C rank missions, which did not seem particularly concerning. Finally, he turned to Naruto Uzumaki, who had completed 30 D rank missions, 15 C rank missions, and even an A rank mission. Kabuto pointed out that Naruto had been absent from the academy frequently and was tied with Sasuke Uchiha for the title of Rookie of the Year. He also mentioned that Naruto was recognized as the current head of the Uzumaki clan, which was quite impressive. Before anyone could respond, the doors opened, and the proctor distributed numbers for the assigned seating. He then handed out a written exam and explained the rules, stating that they had an hour to complete the test, with the final question to be revealed 15 minutes before time was up. Naruto listened as the proctor explained the rules for the second stage of the Chunin exams. It sounded straightforward. Each team was given one of two kinds of scrolls, and a team needed both kinds to pass. To achieve this, teams had to acquire the matching scroll from others by any means necessary, including combat. Sasuke decided to retrieve the scroll for their team, while Naruto noticed a woman watching him intently, her gaze unsettling. There was something about her that reminded him of the fox, and he preferred the fox over this strange woman. After the bells rang, Team 7 made their way into the largest training ground, heading straight for the tower, anticipating encounters with other teams along the way. Sasuke announced he needed a moment alone, but Sakura insisted they should stick together. Naruto, however, turned away, suggesting they create a password to avoid being tricked by transformations or similar techniques. Sasuke urged Naruto to find a more private spot, and Naruto rolled his eyes as he moved further away from his teammates, struggling to relieve himself. When he returned, he deadpanned at Sakura, claiming he had spelled out his name. Sasuke suggested they establish a password known only to the three of them, something they could use to verify each other's identities without raising suspicion. Just as he was about to draw a kunai to prepare for an attack, Naruto was suddenly struck from behind. The attacker revealed their intentions, but Naruto swiftly retaliated, taking down the threat with decisive action. Sasuke and Sakura readied their kunai as Naruto stepped forward, asserting his identity. Sasuke demanded proof, and Naruto, undeterred, insulted him, which led to a challenge for a question to verify his identity. They exchanged details about Shisui, Sasuke's former mentor, revealing Naruto's knowledge of the Uchiha's past. A sudden gust of wind separated them, and as they regrouped, Naruto leaped into view. Sasuke urged him to answer another question, which led to a revelation about Shisui's summoning contract. In a surprising twist, Naruto transformed into the woman from earlier, prompting Orochimaru to reveal himself, admitting he had made a mistake. Naruto, now on his feet, was confronted by a massive snake, which he skillfully evaded before sprinting to his teammates. However, he arrived just in time to see Orochimaru attack Sasuke. The rogue ninja recognized Naruto, who felt a surge of power as he tapped into the Nine Tails chakra, transforming in the process. Orochimaru, intrigued by Naruto's transformation, challenged him to demonstrate his newfound power. He taunted Naruto about Sasuke's desire for revenge against Itachi Uchiha, hinting at deeper truths that would fuel their anger. Naruto demanded to know what Orochimaru meant, especially regarding his parents and the pain of his past. Orochimaru revealed the third Hokage's broken promise to protect Naruto, suggesting that the village's treatment of him was a result of that failure. He insinuated that the anger and hatred stemming from that betrayal could lead Naruto down a dark path, one that would intertwine with Sasuke's quest for vengeance. After avenging his death and confronting his killer, the time had come for betrayal, just as Sarutobi had betrayed Naruto's family and the previous Jinchuriki. The truth was hidden from him. Shisui Uchiha had not taken his own life. Instead, he had been murdered, and his death was staged to appear as a suicide. Naruto faced defeat at the hands of Orochimaru, who placed a seal on his stomach, blocking the fox's chakra. However, Naruto had prepared a counter-seal within the 8-sign seal. When Orochimaru's 5-pronged seal was applied, it backfired, cutting off Orochimaru's own chakra. Sakura watched in horror as Naruto collapsed from the pain inflicted by Orochimaru's attack. But then, Orochimaru screamed and vanished. Sakura set up camp, protecting her unconscious teammates as she waited for them to awaken. As dawn broke, a team from the Sound Village launched an attack. They claimed their scroll had been destroyed in battle. Zaku shouted at Sakura, insisting they didn't want her scroll but rather aimed to eliminate her teammates. Kin smirked, revealing their true intention. Just then, Team 8 and Team 10 arrived to assist Sakura, but they were quickly overpowered. Zaku grabbed Hinata by her hair, holding a kunai to her throat. He taunted that Lord Orochimaru might want to experiment on her, suggesting a dark fate for the Hyuga clan. Suddenly, a hand gripped Zaku's throat, crushing it with a sickening sound. Sasuke had intervened, furious, and took the kunai from Zaku's hand, using it against him. Zaku fell lifeless to the ground. Kin screamed as Sasuke unleashed his incomplete Chidori, piercing her back. Her body collapsed as Sasuke withdrew his hand. Dosu closed his unbandaged eye, facing Naruto, who appeared behind him. He requested a quick end, and Naruto obliged, using his chakra to end Dosu's life swiftly. As Naruto's eyes returned to their normal dull blue, he approached Hinata cautiously, ensuring she was unharmed and not frightened. He expressed his concern for her well-being, and she responded by hugging him, which he happily returned. As the two teams prepared to leave, deciding to let Team 7 be for now, Naruto shared a quick kiss with Hinata, chuckling at her embarrassed expression as she departed with her team. Sasuke groaned as Naruto continued to draw with his blood, making another cut on his body. Naruto, annoyed, insisted that Sasuke hold still, explaining that he was attempting a complex seal he was unsure he could complete without supervision. Sasuke's eyes conveyed trust, and Naruto proceeded with the hand seals, placing his hand on Sasuke's shoulder. The seal activated, causing Sasuke to scream in pain as the lines moved around him, forming a chain. Team 7 made their way to the tower, where they discovered Dosu's corpse still held the scroll they had lost in their fight with Orochimaru. Naruto had collected its partner scroll during his battle with the Rain team. Upon entering their room at the tower, they opened the scrolls, and Kakashi appeared to explain the writing on the wall. He instructed them to rest for the remaining days. Before leaving, he congratulated Naruto on successfully completing the curse-sealing Fuinjutsu. Sakura questioned Naruto about his knowledge of the attacker and the seal placed on Sasuke. He explained that he had read about the curse seal of heaven in his mother's journal and recounted his encounter with Orochimaru during a mission with Shisui Uchiha, where Orochimaru had attempted to steal Shisui's eyes but was thwarted by the Sharingan. Curious, Sasuke asked what had happened after he passed out. Naruto explained that Orochimaru had tried to seal his access to the fox's chakra, but due to the counter-seal, it had backfired, likely sealing Orochimaru's chakra temporarily. He pondered whether he should have used more of the Kyuubi's chakra to eliminate Orochimaru. Sasuke remarked that Naruto might have attacked them regardless of Orochimaru's fate. Sakura then asked why Naruto had been chosen to be the Jinchuriki. He revealed that there had been no other option. He became a Jinchuriki at birth because his mother had died, and only members of his clan could suppress the Kyuubi's power. As the last of his clan in Konoha, he bore a burden he never wanted. Hours later, Naruto lay awake, contemplating the Sanin's words. If Orochimaru's claims were true, he needed to bring the perpetrator to justice to honor his master's name. He reminisced about his only encounter with Sasuke's father, Fugaku Uchiha, known in the bingo book as Wicked Eye Fugaku. Naruto and Shisui were engaged in a sparring session, with Shisui silently guiding Naruto in transitioning between taijutsu and kenjutsu. He had lent Naruto his usual tanto blade while wielding the standard umbu katana he used during his missions. Since Naruto's taijutsu and kenjutsu forms shared the same style, the kata movements were similar, allowing the newly turned 7-year-old to switch forms with ease. In a flash, Shisui vanished from Naruto's sight, prompting the blonde to widen his eyes and duck, narrowly avoiding the non-lethal edge of the Jounin's katana. Shisui praised Naruto for finally anticipating his moves, and Naruto smiled as he raised the tanto to block his master's strike. After a while, Shisui decided it was time to end the training session and sheathed his katana. Naruto looked at him in surprise, feeling a mix of confusion and disappointment. Shisui, sensing his student's feelings, explained that as a clansman he had to attend a meeting called by the clan head, which was crucial for the future of the Uchiha clan. He promised Naruto they would continue their training the next day. As Shisui prepared to leave, he mentioned he had a few minutes before he needed to teleport. Naruto's spirits lifted at his sensei's words. Shisui walked over to a boulder and rummaged through his pack, piquing Naruto's curiosity. After a moment, Shisui turned and tossed Naruto a scroll while securing his pack. Naruto caught the storage scroll and asked what it was. Shisui explained it was a birthday present, as he had been on a mission for the umbu on Naruto's birthday and hadn't been able to give it to him then. When Naruto unsealed the scroll and revealed a green scarf, he gasped in surprise. Shisui had obtained it from the Hokage, believing Naruto would appreciate having his mother's scarf. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Naruto hugged Shisui, thanking him for the meaningful gift. Shisui smiled and patted Naruto's back, sharing a moment of warmth between master and student. Their moment was interrupted by the approach of a chakra signature. A figure appeared in a flicker, wearing a white porcelain mask resembling a boar and a white cloak, indicating his status as an umbu captain. The captain informed Shisui that the Hokage had requested his immediate presence, speaking in the emotionless tone typical of umbu. Shisui acknowledged the request professionally, and the captain departed. Turning back to Naruto, Shisui explained that this was a summons he could not refuse, as disobeying the Hokage was considered treason, punishable by severe consequences. Naruto sighed, understanding the gravity of the situation. As Shisui prepared to use his teleportation jutsu, Naruto called out to him. Shisui turned back, curious about what Naruto wanted to say. Naruto expressed his deep gratitude for Shisui taking him under his wing, for being a mentor, and for always being there for him. Shisui reassured him that he should think nothing of it before disappearing in a flicker. Left alone, Naruto spent the rest of the day practicing his kata movements, returning home tired but fulfilled. Naruto was practicing his fuinjutsu, trying to figure out a way to make his creation work. He aimed to create a seal that would track whoever it was placed on, inspired by his father's flying thunder god kunai. However, the execution was proving to be much more challenging than he had anticipated. He sighed and decided to take a break when a knock sounded at his door. When he opened it, he was surprised to see Fugaku Uchiha standing there. Naruto bowed respectfully and invited him in, offering to make a cup of tea. As Fugaku sipped the hot beverage, he observed Naruto thoughtfully. After several moments of silence, Fugaku finally asked about Sasuke's progress in the academy. Naruto replied that Sasuke was doing well, though they didn't interact much. He described Sasuke as someone who had the admiration of the entire academy, with students and teachers alike recognizing his skills. Most of the girls had crushes on him, vying for his attention, and he was at the top of his class. Naruto speculated that if Sasuke were to take the graduation exam, he would pass with ease, as expected from an Uchiha. Fugaku noted that for someone who claimed not to be friends with Sasuke, Naruto seemed to know a lot about him. Naruto explained that while Sasuke wasn't his friend, he felt a sense of kinship with him and looked out for him. Fugaku considered this, weighing his options. He was about to embark on a coup that would lead to significant upheaval, breaking many rules of the village. He decided to take a risk. On the contrary, he expressed his desire for Naruto to watch over Sasuke and protect him. In exchange for this, Fugaku promised to reveal the identity of Naruto's parents. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise, and he felt a rush of emotions. Although Shisui had shared some information, he had never learned the identities of his parents. Fugaku instructed Naruto to think it over and promised to expect his answer the following morning at 10. Naruto nodded, and Fugaku left. The next morning arrived quickly, and Naruto found himself walking into the Uchiha district. After knocking on the clan head's front door, he was led in by Mikoto, who led him to Fugaku's office. Once inside, Fugaku politely asked Mikoto to leave them alone. Naruto admired their relationship, sensing a deep bond between them, and wondered if he and Hinata could share something similar. Taking a seat at the desk, Naruto felt slightly out of place. Before he could share his decision, Fugaku informed him of troubling news. He revealed that Shisui Uchiha had taken his own life. Naruto was taken aback, struggling to process the information. Fugaku explained that a suicide note was the only evidence recovered, but he suspected that it might have been staged by another Uchiha, given the capabilities of the Sharingan. Fugaku shared that despite a week of investigation, he had no solid proof to support his theory, so he had to rule it as a suicide. He placed a box on the desk, containing all the information from the investigation, and mentioned that Shisui had left Naruto his belongings in his will, including his house. However, Fugaku cautioned against entering the house, as it might raise questions. Curious, Naruto asked about another box that Fugaku had placed next to the first. Fugaku explained that this box contained everything he knew about Naruto's parents. It was his if he agreed to Fugaku's terms, which included watching over Sasuke and keeping their agreement confidential. Fugaku also expressed a desire for Naruto to try to befriend Sasuke, to keep him company and challenge him. After contemplating the terms, Naruto agreed. As he stood to take the boxes, Fugaku stopped him, gripping his wrist. He activated his Sharingan, and Naruto remained unfazed, having trained with skilled Uchiha. Fugaku then revealed his Manjikyu Sharingan, hoping to elicit a reaction from Naruto, which he did. Fugaku warned Naruto not to disclose any of this, especially to Sasuke, and urged him to keep the existence of his evolved dojutsu a secret. He advised Naruto that love should not involve keeping secrets, even if one felt ashamed. After deactivating his Sharingan, Fugaku escorted Naruto out of the district, wishing him well as they parted ways. Just as Naruto suspected, Shino emerged victorious against Kiba, who was overwhelmed by parasitic insects. After their match, Shino and Kiba exchanged handshakes and walked upstairs, both wearing smiles, though Shino's was partially hidden by his jacket. The next match was announced, and Naruto wondered about the upcoming fighters. He recalled how uninteresting Sakura and Ino's fight had been, even finding academy matches more engaging. He was not surprised when they both ended up knocking themselves out. Naruto expressed his disbelief at how two prominent kunoichi could have such a dull fight, feeling it was a waste of time. As the next match was called, he felt his girlfriend, Hinata, tense beside him. He held her hand reassuringly, calming her nerves. He believed in her abilities and reminded her that this was her chance to prove everyone wrong. He whispered words of encouragement, calling her beautiful, but refrained from showing public affection. Hinata smiled at Naruto before confidently walking downstairs to face her cousin, Neji. The match began with the announcement from Hayate, who jumped away to give them space. Both Hinata and Neji activated their Byakugan, taking their stances. Neji scowled, misinterpreting Hinata's unique stance as a mistake. Without hesitation, he charged at her. Hinata skillfully evaded his strike and countered with a palm strike to his chest. Neji grunted in pain, his anger growing as he attempted to block her chakra point. Hinata dodged again, trying to sweep him off his feet, but he leaped back just in time. Frustration filled Neji's thoughts as Hinata confidently remarked on her improvements since their last spar. Neji dismissed her words, insisting that fate dictated her loss. He charged again, landing a hit on her shoulder, causing her to wince before retaliating with a strike of her own. The two cousins exchanged blows, each landing hits on the other. Hinata took a moment to create distance, twirling and unsealing a scroll that released hundreds of kunai toward Neji. He rolled his eyes, easily dodging them until he noticed the explosive tags attached. Panic set in as he realized the danger. When the smoke cleared, everyone gasped. Neji was encased in a spinning dome of chakra, reminiscent of the Rasengan but much larger. Hinata stood in shock, recognizing the heavenly rotation, a technique reserved for the main family of the Hyuga clan. Neji's bitter comment revealed his pride in having forced her to use such a powerful jutsu. Hinata marveled at Neji's growth, acknowledging his self-taught mastery of the technique. Neji smirked, taunting her about her struggles with the jutsu, despite her lineage. Hinata cheered for him, pointing out that he had changed his fate by mastering a technique meant for the main family. She argued that their clan should not be divided into branches, but rather united as one. Neji's anger flared as he shouted that nothing could change their fates, insisting he was destined for greatness while she was fated to fail. Naruto felt a surge of anger at Neji's words, contemplating intervening to change Neji's perspective. However, he calmed down when Kakashi placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, reminding him to control his emotions. As they returned their focus to the arena, Neji charged forward, striking Hinata in the chest. His sadistic smile faltered when she vanished in a puff of smoke, only to reappear behind him, delivering a powerful blow to his shoulder. Hinata announced her original jutsu, the gentle fist style, Rasengan, as the spinning sphere of chakra collided with Neji, sending him crashing to the ground. She approached him, crouching down to explain her technique, which she had developed with Naruto's guidance. She assured him that he would recover after a visit to the hospital, hoping he would understand the significance of her achievement. They were not defined by their fates, they could create their own destinies. Hinata had the potential to become a mere servant to the main family, but she had changed her fate and emerged as the prodigy and pride of the clan. In contrast, she had been labeled a failure by her family for not meeting their expectations quickly enough. Yet here she stood, strong enough to catch Neji off guard and defeat him with a powerful jutsu when he had underestimated her. She patted Neji's uninjured shoulder and walked away as Hayate declared her the winner. As Hinata returned upstairs, Naruto joyfully hugged her, thrilled by her victory and amused by the astonished expressions of the genins and jounins around them. He expressed his unwavering belief in her abilities, showering her with compliments that she eventually tuned out as she tightened their embrace. Although she cherished his support, his constant praise began to wear on her, prompting her to silence him with a kiss, momentarily forgetting their surroundings. When they finally pulled apart, they both blushed, realizing what had just happened. Hinata giggled softly, hiding her face in Naruto's chest, while he sighed, acknowledging the change in their relationship. He felt relieved that they could now spend time together more openly. As Naruto's name was called, he prepared to face his next opponent. Hinata smiled at him, and he gently rubbed his thumb across her cheek, thanking her for her support. He believed her encouragement would help him win. With a playful roll of her eyes, she pushed him away as he headed to the arena. Kabuto attempted to attack Naruto with a chakra scalpel, but Naruto's superior speed allowed him to evade every strike. Even when Kabuto managed to get close, his kunai passed through Naruto as if he were not there. Suddenly, dozens of Narutos surrounded Kabuto, all intangible and distracting him. Taking advantage of the moment, Naruto positioned himself behind Kabuto, placing a seal on his back to absorb his chakra before swiftly incapacitating him. Hayate announced Naruto as the winner, confirming that Kabuto was unconscious. The next match was between Gaara of the Sand and Rock Lee of the Leaf. Although Lee performed admirably against the Jinchuriki, Gaara ultimately emerged victorious, needing a reminder from Naruto not to go too far. With only 2 competitors left, Shikamaru groaned as he addressed his best friend, Choji, who needed some persuasion to fight. Their sensei had promised an all-you-can-eat barbecue if Choji won. The final match for the preliminaries began, with Shikamaru facing Choji. Choji activated his clan's bloodline, transforming into a spiked juggernaut and charging at Shikamaru. The Nara dodged skillfully while Choji changed directions to pursue him. Shikamaru threw a kunai in Choji's path, causing an explosion upon impact. Choji winced but quickly performed a hand seal, preparing to strike with his enlarged hand. However, he found himself unable to move. Shikamaru smirked, having successfully used his shadow possession technique. He warned Choji to concede or risk discovering how much stronger his enlarged hand was compared to his own. With a sigh, Choji gave up, and the 2 friends exchanged smiles and a handshake. Sarutobi congratulated the 8 winners and informed them that the finals would take place in a month, with more rounds and numerous judges to evaluate their progress. Tamari sarcastically questioned how they were supposed to spend the time, and Sarutobi suggested they use it for training. After everyone drew slips to determine the order of the fights, Hayate announced the matchups. The second stage concluded, and everyone was encouraged to enjoy the rest of their day. Naruto began searching the village for his sometimes irresponsible sensei, finding him at the training ground with his teammates' memorial. He addressed Kakashi, who suspected Naruto was there to discuss training. Naruto expressed concern about Sasuke potentially seeking Orochimaru for power and inquired about his own training arrangements. Kakashi informed him that the Hokage had someone in mind for him and instructed Naruto to meet this person in his office at 10 the next morning. To celebrate their advancement to the finals, Naruto and Hinata went on a lunch date at Ichiraku's. They discussed their training plans, with Naruto curious about Hinata's sensei. She mentioned that Kurenai was training her and Shino with their clans, while Kakashi was training Sasuke. She had no idea who would be training her but would find out the next morning. Hand in hand, Naruto walked Hinata back to her clan district, kissing her on the cheek as they parted. The next day, Naruto knocked on the Hokage's office door, and upon hearing a gruff voice tell him to enter, he opened the door, surprised to find the Hokage engaged in a staring contest with a mountain of paperwork. Clearing his throat, Naruto made his presence known. The aged leader looked up and cleared his throat. He welcomed Naruto, gesturing for him to take a seat. He mentioned that Kakashi had recommended someone for Naruto to learn from. With a wave of his hand, he introduced his student, Jiraiya, who was perched on the windowsill, his white spiky hair catching the light. Naruto, unimpressed by the so-called perverted hermit, expressed his disbelief. He questioned Jiraiya's qualifications, pointing out that his previous students had not fared well. Hiruzen and Jiraiya stared in shock as Naruto scowled at the Sannin. Jiraiya, feeling defensive, reminded Naruto that he had taught the 4th Hokage. But Naruto retorted with a series of harsh accusations, questioning Jiraiya's effectiveness as a mentor. Upset, Naruto stood up and declared that he had managed fine on his own for the past 5 years and would continue to do so for another month. He left the office and headed toward the Uchiha district, knowing that Sasuke would be training with Kakashi outside the village. As he approached a house he hadn't seen in over 5 years, memories flooded back. The last time he had entered Shirsue's home was to store a box containing information about his death. Fugaku had given it to him, hoping it would help him draw his own conclusions. However, he had never looked into it, believing Itachi's explanation was sufficient. But if Orochimaru's claims were true, then Fugaku's suspicions might also hold weight. Naruto stepped inside the dusty house, immediately noticing the neglect. Before doing anything else, he gathered cleaning supplies and worked diligently until the place was spotless. Once satisfied, he retrieved the box he had hidden in a secret compartment disguised as a vent. After reviewing the reports and notes, he began to construct an investigation board. For several minutes, he stared at the board, searching for any clues that could guide him. Suddenly, a noise behind him caught his attention. He turned to see the box lid had fallen, revealing a case number that sparked a troubling thought. Under the cover of night, Naruto stealthily entered the police precinct, wearing Shirsui's umbu gear to avoid detection. He pulled out a flashlight and searched for a records or archive room. His heart raced as he stumbled upon a special report indicating that the Uchiha clan had been planning a coup. Before he could process this revelation, a kunai whizzed past him, narrowly missing its target. He recognized the root umbu uniform of his assailant. The umbu warned him that he was trespassing, but Naruto quickly deployed smoke bombs, disappearing from sight. Using advanced Fuinjutsu, he sealed several items within a large radius before vanishing in a flicker. Questions swirled in Naruto's mind. Why was Root involved? Did Danzo have a hand in this? Had Itachi killed his clan to prevent the coup? If so, did that make him innocent? He pondered whether Sasuke knew the truth. If he did, he wouldn't want to kill Itachi. Why not use Kotoamatsukami to change the minds of the clan members instead of resorting to violence? After unsealing the cases and examining their contents, Naruto attached the coup reports and plans to his board. Hours passed as he read, thought, and connected the dots until exhaustion overwhelmed him. Deciding to take a break, he retreated to Shirsui's bedroom, where he fell asleep in his old bed. When Naruto awoke in the middle of the night, a noise startled him. Grabbing a kunai, he prepared to defend himself against a possible intruder. Itachi appeared, and Naruto acknowledged the unfortunate news of Shirsui's death. Itachi expressed his annoyance, bluntly stating that Shisui had taken his own life, and implied that Naruto was to blame. The weight of Itachi's words crushed Naruto. He struggled to comprehend that Shisui's care had been a facade, a mission to keep the Kyuubi contained. As he looked into Itachi's Sharingan, his heart shattered. Itachi's harsh reality struck him. No one could truly care for a demon like him. If he loved Shisui, he should follow his lead. Haunted by Shisui's words about love and sacrifice, Naruto found himself holding his father's special kunai. Taking a deep breath, he steeled himself for what he was about to do. With resolve, he ran wind chakra through the blade and pressed it against his chest, feeling a strange sense of peace wash over him as he succumbed to darkness. In that moment, he felt himself leaving, enveloped in tranquility. Before him stood Shisui, smiling and extending a hand. As Naruto reached out, believing his actions would somehow make amends, Shisui's expression shifted to one of disappointment. "It's not your time yet." Shisui pushed Naruto with his other hand, causing the blonde to fall back, feeling as if he were falling for an eternity. After 5 years, Naruto decided to return to the academy, having essentially dropped out when Shisui died. He spent all his time training while being monitored by the Umbu. Finally allowed to continue his ninja career, he returned to the academy on the day his class was taking the graduation exam. Naruto ventured into the Uchiha district, entering Shisui's house. He hid the box containing information about Shisui's death in a hidden compartment for safekeeping. On his way out, he noticed Shisui's tanto and, after a moment of thought, fastened the holster around his shoulder. Performing a single-hand seal, Naruto executed his master's favorite jutsu, disappearing in a flicker. He moved to his mother's old residence in the Uzumaki district. After visiting the market, he returned and stocked the fridge and cabinets. After taking a shower, Naruto dyed his hair red like his mother's, wanting to distance himself from being identified as the fourth Hokage's son. He believed that as the official head of the Uzumaki clan, he should look the part. Naruto groggily got out of bed, shaking off the remnants of a dream. After showering, he changed into a pair of his master's clothes and searched through the cabinets for something to eat, trying his luck with a jar of peanut butter. After tasting the unusual sticky substance, he continued to work on his investigation board. The 8 finalists stood together in the arena. The replacement proctor, Ginma Shiranui, addressed the finalists, announcing that the first round would commence between Shikamaru Nara and Temari of the Sand, while everyone else was instructed to wait in the designated area. The Chunin exams finals were about to begin. Temari waved her fan, creating a powerful gust of wind that caused Shikamaru to sustain several minor cuts before he could jump away. Temari skillfully dodged Shikamaru's shadow, noting its limitations. For several minutes, the two strategists remained out of reach of each other's jutsu, carefully planning their next moves. Temari narrowed her eyes as Shikamaru's shadow snaked toward her again, but her eyes widened when it passed its previous limit. The longer this battle goes on, the lower the sun gets, and the wider your shadow's range will become, Temari noted as she dodged the shadow again, observing its limits. Using her fan to shield herself from Shikamaru's view, she decided on her next move. She planned to use the clone jutsu as a diversion and attack him while he was distracted. However, as she made the necessary hand seals, she found herself unable to move. Shadow possession, successful. Shikamaru announced, smirking as he approached Temari, making her body follow his movements involuntarily. You used your jacket as a parachute, giving yourself an additional shadow to piggyback on, he explained. I give up, Shikamaru declared. A moment of silence followed as the entire stadium reacted in disbelief. You what? Temari questioned, flabbergasted. Shikamaru's shadow lost its connection with Temari's as he ran out of chakra. I'm out of chakra. It's a shame too, I had already planned out the next 200 moves. Besides, even if I got promoted, it would just mean more work. So you can have it. The next match was announced. Shino Aburame vs Kankuro of the Sand. After several minutes of back and forth, Shino managed to defeat Kankuro but succumbed to the puppet master's poison, resulting in a draw. I'd be shocked if they both didn't make Chunin, Naruto commented. The third match was announced, Sasuke Uchiha vs Hinata Hyuga. As Hinata turned to go downstairs, Naruto held her back, wishing her luck with a gentle kiss. Sasuke rolled his eyes at the display but was also held back by Naruto. Naruto grabbed Sasuke's arm tightly, staring into his eyes with intensity. He warned Sasuke against using any lethal jutsu, leaving the rest unsaid. Sasuke pulled his arm free and headed down to the arena. Begin, the proctor called. Both prodigious clan heirs activated their dojutsu. They collided, first engaging in a taijutsu match with fists and feet, then transitioning to ninjutsu. Hinata tried her best, even resorting to her Rasengan, but in the end, it was no match for Sasuke's skill. When they returned upstairs, Naruto comforted Hinata, assuring her that promotion was inevitable. Thanks, but I think you should worry more about your own match, she replied. Naruto and Gaara then jumped off the balcony and landed in the arena for the fourth round. Round number 4, Naruto Uzumaki vs Gaara of the Sand. The match began with Gaara launching a series of sand attacks, all of which Naruto evaded with remarkable speed. The spectators were amazed at the display between the two Jinchuriki. Gaara's sand techniques were impressive, while Naruto's speed made it seem as though he was teleporting. I had no idea Naruto was this fast, Sasuke muttered, clenching his fist. Kakashi explained that after Shirsue's death, Naruto's first goal was to master the jutsu that had made his master infamous. Hinata looked surprised. Really? The body flicker is what made him so well known. He was known as Shirsue of the body flicker. People fled when they saw him. His reputation as a shinobi contributed to that. Naturally, as Shirsue's apprentice, Naruto wanted to master the jutsu to continue his legacy. Naruto began to run in circles around Gaara, creating shadow clones that accompanied him. His speed kicked up sand and earth around Gaara, producing more afterimages than actual clones. Gaara found himself being struck repeatedly within the circle of Naruto and his clones at incredible speeds. In response, Gaara constructed a giant sand dome around himself, seeking protection from Naruto's relentless attacks. Naruto, undeterred, increased his speed, running up the closest wall and using wind chakra to propel himself toward Gaara. His fist made contact with Gaara's impenetrable defense, resulting in a sharp crack. Ow! Naruto groaned, struggling to free his injured hand from the dome. Closing his eyes in fierce concentration, Naruto summoned some of the Kyuubi's chakra as he formed a Rasengan. The enhanced Rasengan was powerful enough to break through the sand surface, allowing Naruto to pull his hand free, healed now thanks to the Kyuubi's chakra. He looked at the dome before he started running around it again. Sasuke commented that Naruto had to know that his trick wouldn't work with the sand dome. Kakashi encouraged Sasuke to keep watching, suggesting he might learn something. After gaining the preferred speed, Naruto created a single clone and extended his open palm toward it. He felt his clone shape the chakra he was emitting from his hand. With a burst of energy, he unleashed a powerful wind-style technique, watching as it obliterated the dome, causing Gaara to cry out in surprise as he was struck by the jutsu, which wound down to a regular Rasengan without the aid of a shadow clone. The announcer declared Naruto the winner. Naruto helped Gaara to his feet as the next round was announced. Temari, in disbelief, muttered that Gaara had lost as she approached to take his place. The two clashed with various wind jutsu before Naruto used the body flicker to appear right in front of her, switching to taijutsu and delivering a punch that sent her flying back. Coughing and wheezing, Temari got to her feet and swung her fan at Naruto, who performed a front flip to evade her attack. As he landed beside her, he placed his hand on her shoulder, squeezing gently. Temari pushed Naruto away with her fan, successfully creating distance. She winced as she rubbed her shoulder, realizing he knew how to incapacitate his opponents. Naruto attempted to run circles around Temari as he did with Gaara, but she spun her fan, causing him to lose contact with the ground and roll with the force he had gathered. He quickly flipped back onto his feet and used the body flicker to get behind her. After a moment, Temari felt a cold metal blade at her neck and side, conceding the match. The sixth and final round was announced, pitting Naruto against Sasuke. Naruto chuckled, acknowledging the significance of the moment. Sasuke declared he wouldn't win this fight. Both made the seal of confrontation, staring into each other's eyes, waiting for the other to make the first move. A leaf fell to the ground, and they used this as a signal to attack simultaneously. Sasuke attempted to hit Naruto with his ninjutsu, but Naruto evaded every attack. Sasuke made several hand seals, and an electrical current flowed through his hand as he called out his technique. He aimed for Naruto, but found only an afterimage. Sasuke jabbed behind him, moving his hand into Naruto's shoulder, but Naruto burst into smoke. Another Naruto appeared behind Sasuke, colliding his Rasengan into Sasuke's stomach, causing him to stagger back. Before they could continue their fight, an explosion sounded in the distance. Naruto turned to Genma, questioning what was happening. Genma informed him of an invasion, urging him to forget the fight and defeat the invaders. The Sand Shinobi fought alongside the Leaf against the Sound Ninjas. Naruto created hundreds of thousands of shadow clones to assist in the battle, making his way to the Hokage. He knew that if the Hokage fell, the damage Orochimaru inflicted on the village would be catastrophic. In a flash of red, Naruto appeared inside a purple barrier and drove his Rasengan into Orochimaru. Sarutobi called out to him, but Naruto replied that he would talk later. Orochimaru acknowledged Naruto's impressive techniques and offered to show him one of Lord Tobirama's jutsu. He slammed his hands on the ground, summoning 3 coffins. As the lids fell off, 3 decayed bodies emerged. Orochimaru revealed he had summoned the first, second, and Shisui. Naruto felt weak at the sight of his deceased master. Shisui questioned what was happening, and Tobirama recognized Shisui, his eyes widening in surprise. Naruto clarified that Shisui was his ancestor. Orochimaru explained that he had summoned them back to the land of the living, but he had originally wanted the 3 dead Hokages. He lamented that Minato Namake's soul was unreachable. Orochimaru attempted to place a talisman into the reanimated bodies, but Tobirama warned Naruto, who quickly intervened to prevent the talisman from affecting them. He demanded to know how to release the jutsu. Tobirama instructed him to seal their souls away, confirming Naruto's Uzumaki lineage. Naruto understood and sealed Tobirama away by placing a seal on his chest. He tried to do the same with Shisui, but Shisui was too fast. As tears rolled down his face, Naruto addressed his master. Shisui expressed his regret, apologizing for abandoning Naruto when he should have been there for him. Naruto reassured him that he had learned a great deal, mastering the body flicker and the fourth Hokage's techniques. Despite the circumstances, they continued to converse, with Naruto seeking answers about Shisui's past decisions and the truth behind his actions. Shisui admitted that what Itachi told Naruto was a lie meant to protect him from the clan's plans, and he expressed his sorrow for the pain it had caused Naruto. Shisui's body began to disintegrate, turning into dust as his soul started to ascend. He urged Naruto to listen closely, revealing that the jutsu was releasing him. Shisui had intended to stop the coup subtly with his Kodo Amatsukami, but Danzo had interfered. With the help of his root Umbu, he had stolen Shisui's right eye. Shisui managed to escape and gave his left eye to Itachi, instructing him to pass it on to Naruto when the time was right. He had sacrificed himself in front of Itachi, hoping to awaken his brother's own Manjikyu Sharingan. Shisui emphasized the need for Naruto to recover his right eye, as it was in the wrong hands. With that, Shisui's soul returned to the afterlife. As the battle continued, Hashirama looked down to see Naruto collide his jutsu with Orochimaru's chest. Orochimaru roared in anger as another Naruto appeared behind him, jumping onto his back and wrapping his hands around him. Naruto activated his clan's bloodline, summoning the adamantine sealing chains. He released Orochimaru from his grip but ensured he remained bound before performing hand seals and slamming his hand on the ground, creating a sealing matrix beneath Orochimaru. With determination, Naruto declared the Uzumaki sealing technique, sealing Orochimaru away. With all four of them sealed, the invasion came to an end. Naruto dispelled the barrier jutsu, allowing the Umbu to handle Orochimaru's guards and send them for interrogation. In the Hokage's office, Naruto, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Shino, and Hinata stood together. The Hokage expressed gratitude for their presence, explaining that the Kazekage's children had warned him of the impending invasion, enabling them to prepare. They had discovered that Orochimaru had killed the Kazekage and assumed his identity to orchestrate the attack. Thanks to Naruto's actions, the Sanjinchuriki had a change of heart and convinced his siblings to stand down. The Hokage then announced promotions, recognizing the efforts of Hinata, Shino, Shikamaru, and Sasuke, granting them the rank of Chunin. Hinata questioned the Hokage about Naruto's promotion, prompting him to present a darker green flak jacket to Naruto. The Hokage acknowledged Naruto's pivotal role in preventing a war that could have devastated all nations, praising his skill, intellect, and heart. He promoted Naruto to Jounin, affirming that Konoha was still standing because of him. Overwhelmed, Naruto expressed his gratitude, feeling honored by the decision. The Hokage informed them that they would receive new assignments fitting their ranks within the week and dismissed them. Later, Naruto knocked on Sasuke's door, which was answered by the stoic raven-haired boy. Naruto urged Sasuke to come with him if he still sought revenge against his brother for their clan slaughter, revealing he had information that could change Sasuke's mind. Sasuke followed Naruto to Shisui's house, where they entered an office with an investigation board set up on the wall. Naruto explained that he had gathered evidence about Shisui's death, enough to piece together the full story. He began with his own birth, detailing how the third Hokage had overseen his Dilvawai in a cave, far from the village. His mother, the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi, had weakened the beast's seal during her PR Densui. When he was born, a masked man, claiming to be Madara Uchiha, attacked and unleashed the Kyubi on the village. This incident led many to believe the Uchiha clan was responsible, resulting in their treatment as outcasts and their plan for a coup. Shisui had reported this to the Hokage and offered to stop it. Sasuke questioned how Shisui planned to do that. Naruto explained the Manjikyu Sharingan, an evolved form of the Sharingan that granted immense power but required the user to kill their best friend to activate it. Itachi had awakened his Manjikyu by witnessing Shisui's self-sacrifice. Naruto recounted how the third Hokage had wanted to use the Uchiha's Sharingan against the Kyubi, but an elder had advised against it. Instead, they were used to protect civilians. When Shisui attempted to use his Manjikyu ability to prevent the coup, Danzo attacked him and stole one of his eyes, which he still possessed. With the coup still a threat, the Hokage had ordered Itachi to eliminate the clan, leading Itachi to become a double agent for the Leaf and join an organization of traitors. Naruto observed Sasuke's reaction as he clenched his fists in anger, vowing to take revenge on Danzo and the Hokage. Naruto offered his support, sharing his own losses, but cautioned Sasuke about the consequences of such a path. He warned that killing an elder and a Kage could lead him down a dark road, one that could lead him to join his brother in the Akatsuki. Naruto reflected on his feelings toward the village, noting that his affection had faded since it was responsible for the deaths of his family and clan. He felt a sense of resolve in seeking revenge, believing he could rebuild his ancestral home and establish a new village. He chuckled at the irony of the situation. He recalled the first day Shisui taught him, when he attended the academy and took notes for the first time. He learned about the village's creation, how two enemies, Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, became best friends and rivals, ultimately forming an alliance to create the Leaf Village. Naruto found it amusing that the descendants of these founders were now planning to do something similar. Sasuke questioned Naruto's claim about being a descendant of Hashirama. Naruto explained his lineage, detailing how Hashirama married Mito Uzumaki and how his own great-grandmother was a cousin of Mito, making her a distant relative. Sasuke expressed his willingness to help Naruto with his goals, curious about his motivations. Naruto explained that he sought to take back his master's eye from Orochimaru, a traitor who had experimented on children. He intended to confront Orochimaru and make him face the fearsome Kyuubi before dealing with Itachi, leaving Sasuke to handle him afterward. Naruto and Sasuke reaffirmed their bond as brothers, promising to stand by each other as they rebuilt their clans in a new environment, free from the curse of hatred. They prepared for the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Danzo entered the root headquarters, unaware of the danger approaching. Fu Yamanaka and Toryun sensed an incoming chakra signature and drew their weapons, but a figure in Umbu attire swiftly dispatched them. The masked figure, known as Weasel, confronted Danzo, revealing his intent to make him pay for his sins. Danzo, unfazed, questioned Weasel's identity. Weasel declared himself the harbinger of Danzo's demise. As the confrontation escalated, another Umbu, Crow, appeared and extracted Danzo's Sharingan, taunting him about his deceit and the futility of his actions. Weasel activated his Sharingan, ensnaring Danzo in a powerful genjutsu that inflicted torment. The brothers watched as Danzo suffered, his cries echoing through the room. After a prolonged struggle, Danzo managed to break free, vowing revenge against the Uchiha and Uzumaki. Naruto and Sasuke, now revealed, confronted Danzo. Naruto struck him with a kunai, asserting their intent to end his life. Weasel and Sasuke joined in, unleashing their powers as Danzo begged for mercy. As the confrontation reached its climax, Danzo was engulfed in black flames, his body consumed and reduced to ash. Naruto checked on Sasuke, who felt a sense of cleansing as they avenged their parents. They both understood the importance of their actions and prepared for the next steps in their mission. They donned their masks once more, aware that the aftermath of their actions would soon be discovered. They needed to lay low until enough time had passed, focusing on their mission to find Itachi. The two teens decided to be patient and bide their time for now. After a month, they returned to the Leaf Village and chose to grab some lunch at Ichiraku's. Naruto received his bowl and wondered about the Akatsuki's intentions. He had some ideas but nothing concrete as he slurped his ramen. Their meal was interrupted by the arrival of a pigeon. Naruto explained that he had requested permission from the Fire Daimyo to rebuild and use the property of Whirlpool. Even though it was his birthright, he still needed permission to manage it. He realized that he had effectively nominated himself to be the Kage of the village. Sasuke expressed that he didn't want that responsibility and asked if Naruto had received the permission yet. Naruto mentioned that the daimyo wanted to meet him for lunch the next day to discuss it. Sasuke was curious about the timing of the meeting, given that the invasion had occurred 2 months prior. Naruto voiced his frustrations about the Hokage's decisions, questioning why he would allow such tragedies to happen to his clan and why he had not sent help when his parents were killed. Sasuke acknowledged Naruto's point, and they agreed to discuss their next course of action after the meeting. Later, Naruto lay on a patch of grass in the Uzumaki district, feeling at peace with Hinata resting her head on his chest. He cherished the moment, whispering his affection for her as she snuggled closer, content in her nap. After some time, he knew he had to leave. 3 hours later, Naruto arrived at Shirsue's house, where Sasuke was waiting for him. Sasuke inquired about the delay, and Naruto explained that it was hard to understand without having a girlfriend or someone special in his life. Sasuke shook his head and followed him inside. Naruto shared that his meeting with the daimyo had gone perfectly. Once he revealed his lineage as the son of the 4th Hokage and his wife, the daimyo offered to cover all expenses for rebuilding the village and even promised to help find ninjas for the task. Sasuke asked what their next steps were, and Naruto replied that they needed to prepare for their mission the following day. Sasuke questioned the importance of their mission compared to dealing with a lowlife who had been causing harm. Naruto pointed out that they couldn't allow such individuals to continue their actions while they waited for revenge. Sasuke rolled his eyes in response. Naruto reflected on the news that Danzo's entire Umbu division had been defeated, and Danzo himself had been reduced to ashes. He believed Itachi would want to know what was happening and might want to see how Sasuke had grown, especially since Itachi had once been a double agent to protect him. Naruto speculated that Itachi might choose to confront them while they were on a mission, away from the village and any reinforcements. Sasuke then asked about Shirsue's eye, which Naruto had kept hidden. Naruto recalled that Shisui had asked Itachi to give him his left eye when he was ready, but he was cautious about the power it held and the potential for it to fall into the wrong hands. Sasuke reassured him that he was strong enough to handle it, given Shisui's trust in him. As expected, Itachi confronted them on their way back to the Leaf Village. Separated from his partner, he spoke with the two teens and explained his reasons for his past actions, convincing Sasuke not to attack the Leaf or the Hokage. Itachi requested information about the Akatsuki, specifically everything they had learned over the past 5 years. He informed them that the Akatsuki consisted of 10 members, each paired in groups of 2. Itachi began detailing their abilities and weaknesses, starting with Kisame Hashigaki, a member of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, known for his sentient sword that could absorb chakra. He continued with descriptions of the other members, including Pain, Konan, Zetsu, Tobi, Deidara, Sasori, Kazu, and Haiden, explaining their unique powers and vulnerabilities. Naruto absorbed the information, contemplating the implications of what Itachi had shared. When asked about the eye Shisui had given him, Naruto revealed that it was hidden within the eye of a crow, kept safe for the time being. Itachi acknowledged that he was aware of their involvement in Danzo's demise, recognizing the burn marks of Amaterasu, a testament to his own abilities. Naruto realized that Sasuke must have awakened his Manjikyu Sharingan, and one of its abilities was Amaterasu. He understood that the rest of the root members had been killed, their throats seemingly cut while they stood still. Naruto knew that only someone as fast as the one before him could accomplish such a feat. He pondered the details of Sasuke's powers, recalling that each Manjikyu Sharingan had its unique ability. Itachi explained that his right eye could use Amaterasu, which burned anything within his line of sight, while his left eye allowed him to use Tsukuyami, a powerful genjutsu that manipulated the perception of time and space. Naruto, intrigued, asked if Itachi could shape the flames. Itachi replied that while he could move the flames and extinguish them at will, he could not give them a specific form. Naruto then revealed that he believed his own Manjikyu abilities allowed him to shape the flames created by his left eye. Naruto inquired about Tobi's whereabouts, and after receiving information about some Akatsuki hideouts, he set off for the first location, taking a moment to switch his right eye with Shisui's Sharingan. Upon arriving, Tobi turned to face Naruto, who was clad in Shisui's Umbu attire. Naruto confronted Tobi, accusing him of being the leader of the Akatsuki, attacking the Leaf, and killing his parents. He declared his intent to take revenge. Tobi narrowed his eyes as Naruto threw his father's kunai at him, which passed through Tobi's form. Tobi's ability allowed him to phase through objects, but Naruto knew it couldn't last forever. As Tobi began to swirl, Naruto noticed the movement originated from Tobi's eye. In a flash, Naruto appeared behind Tobi, slamming his Rasengan into Tobi's mask, chipping it away. Tobi was astonished, questioning how Naruto had managed such a feat. Naruto explained that his father had marked Tobi 13 years ago, allowing him to utilize the seals his father had placed, including the one on Tobi. Tobi's ability to transport objects into a pocket dimension was impressive, but Naruto continued to throw kunai at him, each one passing through Tobi as he teleported around the battlefield. After several minutes of dodging, Tobi lost his intangibility and was grazed by a kunai. Naruto's eyes widened as he formed a series of seals, surrounding Tobi with tri-pronged kunai that began to burn. He activated the explosion seals embedded in the kunai, creating a chain reaction that should have eliminated Tobi. However, when the dust settled, Tobi appeared unharmed, though his mask was significantly damaged, revealing both of his eyes. His left eye had turned white, resembling the Byakugan, indicating he had lost its sight. Naruto teleported to the seal on Tobi's back, quickly removing Tobi's other eye and placing an explosion seal on his back. After confirming Tobi's defeat, Naruto prepared to confront the remaining members of the Akatsuki. Upon finding Pain, Naruto discovered that he was his cousin, Nagato. He offered to heal Nagato and provide a place for him and Konan in Whirlpool, which they reluctantly accepted. A strange creature attempted to interfere, but Naruto sealed it with his Uzumaki sealing technique. While searching for Itachi, Naruto encountered Kisame. He had hoped to find Itachi first, but he dealt with Kisame using only Kenjutsu, ultimately sealing Kisame's body in a scroll due to the substantial bounty on him. As Naruto made his way back to the leaf, he encountered the 4 remaining Akatsuki members. He swiftly dealt with Haiden, sealing his head and body in separate scrolls. Using a shadow clone, he confronted Kazu, forming a Raisin Shuriken that destroyed his 5 hearts. After sealing Kakuzu's body, Naruto used the body flicker technique to get in front of Deidara, running lightning chakra through his Tanto and sealing him as well. Finally, Naruto faced Sasori, dodging the puppet's attacks and colliding a Rasengan with its body, destroying it. Sasori's true form was revealed as a puppet, and Naruto defeated him by driving his Tanto through a scroll that acted as Sasori's heart. After delivering the sealed bodies of the rogue members, Naruto returned to the leaf, having found Sasuke and Itachi along the way. The 2 teens went about their business for several months. Sasuke asked Naruto if the village was finally ready. Naruto explained that while it was prepared to be inhabited and could take missions for the Land of Fire, it still needed to be officially established. Hinata chimed in, expressing her desire to accompany Naruto. She insisted that since her clan did not acknowledge her, she wanted to join him in his new village. Naruto agreed, stating that they would leave the next day, with Itachi providing cover through Genjutsu and Nagato and Konan meeting them along the way. He reminded them that once they left, there would be no turning back, urging them to only join him if they were certain. Hinata and Sasuke exchanged glances before affirming their commitment to Naruto. The next day, the 3 departed under the cover of Itachi's Genjutsu, reaching Whirlpool by sunset. They settled into their new homes, with Nagato and Konan in one, Sasuke, and Itachi in another, and Naruto and Hinata in the Uzukage's estate. Naruto reflected on his dream of becoming a Kage, now fulfilled as he donned the black cap. He turned to Hinata and asked if she would be his Lady Kage and his wife. After a heartfelt proposal, the 2 were married. After several years, Nagato and his companions had faced countless challenges and trials. The weight of their past decisions hung heavily on their shoulders, but they remained resolute in their mission. The world around them was filled with remnants of conflict, a stark reminder of the battles they had fought. As they journeyed through the desolate landscape, they encountered remnants of their enemies, shadows of the past that lingered in the air. The tension was palpable, and the group moved cautiously, aware that danger could strike at any moment. They had learned to rely on each other, their bonds forged through shared experiences and mutual understanding. Nagato often reflected on the choices that had led them to this point. He understood the importance of their mission, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on him. He sought to bring peace to a world torn apart by strife, Yet the path was fraught with obstacles. Each step forward was a reminder of the sacrifices they had made and the lives they had touched. As they pressed on, the group encountered a formidable opponent. The air crackled with tension as they prepared for the confrontation. Nagato's heart raced, but he steeled himself, knowing that they had to fight for their ideals. The clash was intense, with each member of the team showcasing their skills and determination. They moved with precision, their actions a dance of strategy and strength. In the midst of the battle, Nagato felt a surge of energy, a reminder of the hope that fueled their journey. He knew that they were fighting not just for themselves, but for a future where peace could flourish. With each strike, they pushed back against the darkness, their resolve unwavering. As the dust settled, they stood together, united in their purpose. The fight had been fierce, but they emerged stronger, their spirits unbroken. Nagato looked at his companions, gratitude swelling within him. They had come so far, and though the road ahead remained uncertain, he was determined to lead them toward a brighter tomorrow. Konan entered a new chapter in her life as she embraced the joy of marriage. The ceremony was filled with warmth and love, surrounded by friends and family who celebrated this special moment with her. As she stood at the altar, her heart swelled with happiness, knowing she was about to embark on a journey of companionship and support. The vows exchanged were heartfelt, promising to stand by each other through thick and thin, and to cherish the bond they shared. In the days that followed, Konan found herself adjusting to her new life. The challenges that came with marriage were met with determination and understanding. Together, they navigated the ups and downs, growing stronger as a couple. Konan's creativity flourished as she infused her life with love and inspiration, finding new ways to express herself and connect with her partner. As time passed, the couple built a home filled with laughter and shared dreams. They faced obstacles together, always leaning on one another for strength. Through every trial, their love deepened, proving that their commitment was unbreakable. Konan cherished the moments they spent together, knowing that each day was a new opportunity to grow and create lasting memories. In this journey of love, Konan discovered not only the joy of partnership but also the power of resilience. With each passing day, she embraced her role as a loving partner, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, hand in hand with the one she loved. Sasuke stood beside a girl named Uzumaki, their bond forged through shared experiences and challenges. They had faced numerous trials together, each one strengthening their connection. As they trained under the watchful eye of the sun, the air crackled with determination and unspoken words. Sasuke's focus was unwavering, his movements precise and fluid. He admired the way Uzumaki pushed herself, her spirit unyielding even in the face of adversity. They exchanged glances filled with understanding, each knowing the weight of their pasts and the hopes they held for the future. In the midst of their training, they encountered obstacles that tested their skills and resolve. The world around them was filled with dangers, but together they faced each challenge head-on, their teamwork becoming more seamless with every encounter. The thrill of battle ignited a fire within them, driving them to become stronger. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the landscape, Sasuke and Uzumaki took a moment to catch their breath. They reflected on their journey, the struggles they had overcome, and the dreams they still pursued. In that moment of quiet, a sense of camaraderie enveloped them, solidifying their bond even further. The path ahead was uncertain, but with each other by their side, they felt ready to confront whatever lay in wait. The promise of adventure and growth lingered in the air, fueling their determination to forge ahead together. Karen stood at the edge of the forest, her heart racing as she gazed into the shadows that danced among the trees. She felt a sense of unease creeping over her, but her curiosity pushed her forward. The whispers of the wind seemed to call her deeper into the woods, where secrets lay hidden. As she ventured further, the atmosphere thickened, and the air grew heavy with tension. Karen could sense that she was not alone. The rustle of leaves and the distant snap of twigs echoed around her, heightening her awareness. She moved cautiously, her instincts guiding her through the underbrush. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, cloaked in mystery. Karen's heart pounded in her chest as she prepared herself for whatever might come next. The figure stepped closer, revealing a determined expression that mirrored her own resolve. They exchanged a knowing glance, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Together, they faced the challenges ahead, ready to confront whatever dangers lurked in the shadows. The bond they formed in that moment would guide them through the trials to come, as they navigated the treacherous path that lay before them. With courage and determination, they pressed on, united in their quest for truth and adventure. After the designated time was up, Team 7 and the other 5 teams that passed the second stage reconvened in an arena. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, addressed the remaining 6 teams, congratulating them for making it this far in the exams. Although it was disheartening that only 18 ninjas had passed the second stage, Sarutobi noted with satisfaction that all but one team was from Konoha. He began explaining the rules of the final stage, emphasizing that the Chunin exams served as a substitute for war. He mentioned that due to the number of participants, a preliminary round was necessary, but he was interrupted by a Leaf Jounin. With respect, the Jounin requested to take over as the proctor for this stage, bowing to the Hokage, who nodded in agreement. The Jounin introduced himself as Heiate Gecko and explained that while the teams had participated together thus far, they would now compete individually. He announced a one-on-one tournament-style preliminary round and encouraged anyone who felt unable to continue to raise their hand to withdraw without affecting their team. After confirming that no one was quitting, Heiate indicated for the names to be drawn for the first round. He asked everyone except the selected participants to go upstairs. In the first match, Sasuke quickly incapacitated Kabuto's teammate using his Sharingan. Kiba remarked to Shino and Hinata that the outcome was expected, even if it was faster than he had anticipated. As Sasuke made his way upstairs, the next match was called. Heiate politely requested Temari of the Sand and Tenten of the Leaf to come down. The 2 kunoichi descended the stairs, each wearing different expressions, Tenten with a confident smile and Temari with a smirk. The round began with Tenten unsealing various weapons from her scrolls and launching them at Temari, who effortlessly blocked each attack with her fan. Tenten then pulled out 2 special scrolls and leaped into the air to unseal them. Temari, appearing bored, unfolded her fan completely and declared that the number of weapons thrown at her was irrelevant. With a swift motion, she swung her fan, creating a vortex of wind blades that caught Tenten. When the technique subsided, Tenten fell to the ground, landing on Temari's fan. Temari commented on Tenten's performance, expressing her boredom before walking away. Heiate announced Temari as the winner, while medics attended to Tenten. In another match, Kankuro defeated Kabuto's other teammate using his puppet, showcasing the ruthless nature of the Kazekage's children. Naruto reflected on the emotional scars that Gaara, as a Jinchuriki, bore, and how Temari's position as the eldest daughter might contribute to her cold demeanor. He pondered the level of ruthlessness shared among the 3 siblings when another name was called. Heiate announced the next match, requesting Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka from the Leaf to come down. Naruto noted that the matchup between an Inuzuka and an Aburame would be interesting for Shino to win.